Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 34th edition of the Squid Junction. I am one of your co-commentators here today, and am joined by a new face here called Broken Pinky. How you doing today, Broken Pinky?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for the introduction, NM. I'm so psyched to be here, and I'm very excited to see this wonderful gameplay here at Squid Junction 34, the first of this new patch. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one of the first of the new patch. So, of course, I am excited to see if we get some, any new weapons being shown here. There are some strong ones, some less strong ones. So I'm hoping to see some good stuff in this first round today, being Corn Dog versus In Your Walls. They are inside your walls.
There could be a corn dog in there. You never know. You never know which team is going to come out just a little bit more prominent in the household of your own. But we will have to see in the series.
Yeah, we will just have to wait and see here. Already looking at the teams, I do see some familiar faces. I'm not sure which one is which, but I do see players like Echo, Surskit, Daybreak. We got Crimson, Silver. There's some notable faces here that I do recognize. I'm interested to see what they're going to be running. I'm just not sure what. I'm pretty sure Crimson and Silver's team is In Your Walls, and then Surskit and Daybreak is on Corn Dog.
Yes, you are correct on that. Alright, well, we are now getting into Game 1 of the series on Splatzone's Brinewater Springs, one of the new maps added in the most recent update.
Already seeing some prominent new weapons here, being the T-Tech and the C Junior, and on the other side, the infamous double splash. Both teams here have a splash, and for the other weapons, we do see a C Junior, T-Tech very prominent in the new meta here we got, but also Machine 52 notable, and interestingly enough, the Vanilla Blaster. You don't really see that a lot nowadays, especially in a mode like Splat Zones. You mainly see that in something like Tower Control, so that's really interesting to see as one of the crabs takes Crimson down. That was crab versus crab, with that crab coming out on top. Echo getting some triple ink strikes on the ramp of In Your Walls, and Corn Dog is already positioning themselves to push in here, seeing if they can get any picks. The Machine is down. They just gotta get zoned and make sure that this crab does not pick them off. Ooh, the crab cancel coming out from Surskit with the Vanilla Blaster. Okay, two down. All right,
Surskit is
crazy.
Surskit's been making some amazing plays with that Vanilla Blaster, showing exactly why it's such a good weapon, but here we see 3 of In Your Walls all kind of staggered within their own spawn. We see the Booyah is going to get tri-strikes and likely get broken, but they are able to take control of zone as they get the pick, and they're trying to move back into mid, get more control of the map, and be able to push back Corn Dog a little bit, who has just taken so much control already.
Not looking good for Corn Dog here as they're getting pushed back heavily. They do have 2 specials at the ready, so they could use those to help out, as one of the splashes on the side of In Your Walls is down. The Crab Tank triple ink strike coming out, trying to see if they can push back the members of In Your Walls, which they do. They get the cap back, but they're not going down without a fight. Booyah Bomb coming out from the Machine, but they're going to get shredded and picked off by Echo as they are going to try to move in, but gets picked off themselves. Crimson on that ramp trying to stay alive and push in if they can. Crab Tank at the ready, so they have the tools necessary in order to get a pushback in there, trying to displace the members of Corn Dog here.
We're seeing a lot of crabs already. It's just showing itself to be such a prominent special, especially in this new patch with the nerf to stuff like missiles. And it's really allowing In Your Walls with that double crab comp to be able to muscle their way in, but one of the splashes does get picked off by the other one that is just now activating his own crab. And we can really see how on a stage like Brinewater, where mid is so small, the action is really coming into the initial ramps of each team's bases. And we see a wipeout on the side of Corn Dog. In Your Walls is coming in from spawn, and they're all coming in at the same time, but they're being pushed really far back as Corn Dog is really vying for as much control as they can get.
Yeah, no, Corn Dog is just trying to keep control of the zone. They're almost done with the penalty, but In Your Walls is positioning to push back in. Crab Tanks, Killer Whales, Booyah Bombs, they're getting everything, but one of the splashes is down, but they take care of the blaster. It's time to go in here. Machine and Gal on the right, trying to make sure they live here, but the triple ink strike coming out from Echo is making sure they have none of that. There was another ink strike. I didn't even see that one come out. Maybe threw it up really high. They're trying to shred as much as they can, but with 3 down, that's not going to do much, as In Your Walls loses to Corndog for that first set. Corndog just had really good aggression. They had really good special coordination, and they made sure In Your Walls were never in their walls.
Exactly, and something I thought that was really notable was I feel like even though Corndog did have 1 less splash and therefore 1 less crab, I thought that the value that they got out of the crab was immense. You could see at the end where the crab was just kind of patrolling the main way of getting into zone, and that kind of forced In Your Walls to either take the brunt of the crab or have to go through the lower drop area, which is on low ground and fairly easy to call out. So very well done from Corndog, sort of leveraging every advantage they can get in such a fight-heavy map like Brinewater. Being able to win those fights, those team fights, is really crucial to have so much control, as Corndog just showed.
Yeah, no, they used their specials very, very well. Even if the opposing team had 2 crab tanks instead of 1, the power that that crab tank had alongside their other specials was enough to push through it. As they're moving on to the second round here, being on Tower Control Sturgeon Shipyard. Of course, another map from Splatoon 2, as we always see in these tournaments. It's unavoidable. But Tower Sturgeon is a pretty good one, and coming into it, I could see the Vanilla Blaster staying. It does have that big bubbler. It can stay on that tower if it wants to, and it's also a blaster. Blasters are really nice in tower control, so I wouldn't see why they wouldn't stay with the blaster.
Vanilla Blaster is really solid on Sturgeon in general, just because there are so many corners to be able to peek around, and of course, blasters have one of the key advantages in a crab meta where they're able to sort of peek behind at the player leaning over the crab a lot easier than other weapons like the typical shooters. But it's also worth knowing that crab is seen as one of the better weapons against the big bubbler that the Vanilla Blaster does carry. So it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between the special play and the main play between these two teams, assuming the Blaster does stay.
It's going to be really interesting to see what we got cooking here. Just waiting for one of the members on the side of, oh, there we go. We are now getting into the second match here. And we are going to see just what these teams are cooking. Seeing both of the rosters going out with the first team from Corndog. We have the V-Blaster coming, but we have the Nautilus. Yeah, instead of the crab, they're actually going for the Nautilus, which means they have a crabless comp going up against In Your Walls, which is sticking with the same comp they were before, Double Splash, Gal, Machine.
Yeah, it's really rare to see a crabless comp in this team, but I guess leveraging the advantage of the Nautilus with the longer range, with the ability to mark people very easily, and with area denial with Storm, but we're already seeing a crab coming out just completely controlling mid as Corndog can't really approach, but now the crowd's looking maybe, yeah, we see the Wave Breaker, and we see the triple Ink Strike, as Corndog is going to be able to take control of this tower with their custom junior.
Yeah, we already see here 2 on the tower watching as Surskit is going to go down to one of the splashes, but they're shredding that checkpoint. 2 down on the side of Corndog as 2 has got to stay alive. Play with their life here as Machine, she's trying to watch that tower, make sure nobody's thinking about getting back on there. Throwing Fizzy Bombs as a Machine does. Booyah Bomb going to come out, but where are they going to be placing it? They're going to be placing it on the opposing team's right. Surskit is going to go down too. Not looking good as In Your Walls has a perfect time to push back in, but they can't really find anything. One of their splashes goes down and they just can't find a way back in.
Ooh,
and
that's the disconnect. I'm not exactly sure of the disconnect rules. I don't know if this, yeah, it seems like they're just running away. It seems like this match will end up having to be replayed. I'm although not exactly sure. And then do you know the DC rules of this place, for this tournament?
Sadly, I do not. I can't find that, but it seems that since they're just standing around, whatever it is, they have forfeited this match, so it's either we're going to move on or we're going to replay this. It's really unfortunate seeing the disconnect come out from the T-Tech. You know, the online on this game could be, it can be a little,
It has some room for improvements, but I mean, hey, this is the best multiplayer game of the year, so there are still other advantages, such as the heavily dynamic gameplay we were able to see in the first minute of that match, as well as all of Game 1. We can see these teams are just going right for each other's throats, and it's interesting. It's going to be interesting how the rest of the set will play out from here.
Yeah, if we do replay this, we do know what the comp is coming out. We do know what both of these teams want to work with, so we can try to make our predictions from there. We did see how the first minute or so of that match played out. it was very in the favor of Corn Dog, and Your Walls was trying to find a way back into mid every time, but they just couldn't find it.
Yeah, it could be a numerous amount of issues. It could be the positioning of Corn Dog. Maybe the extra range of the Nautilus is really good at spacing them and keeping them out. But whatever it is, Inter Walls is going to have to make some mental adjustments and some adjustments to their play. They really want to be able to break through the team of Corn Dog and be able to win these team fights. Maybe utilizing the splash ball of the gal a bit better, some chip of the burst bombs or something, just to really be able to leverage these kinds of advantages that Corn Dog's just been kind of stomping all over them with.
Yeah, something I have noticed is maybe with the splashes, it doesn't seem that they get too much value from whenever they're popping their crabs. They have 2 crabs coming out, which they can use constantly, but it doesn't seem that their crabs really do much in terms of oppression. They get stuff here and there, but it doesn't really work out for them in the long run, it seems. And from that, it's like, maybe try to time it instead of just like, spamming crab. It's nice to get a lot of crabs, but using crabs effectively is something you also want to use.
You have to be smart with how you use your specials in order to get the most amount of value with them. And crab is definitely one of those more skill-dependent specials where you can either use it very aggressively and help your team to push forward, or you can use it to keep control of a key choke point. And it seems that Inter Walls has been favoring the latter more so, but maybe they'll make a shift to using crab a bit more aggressively going forward.
Coming out here, we're going to be seeing the comps. I don't expect any of them to change, as this is pretty much just a replay. Same thing coming out from Corn Dog, and same thing coming out from In Your Walls. We are going to see how they're going to try to use this double crab now, as the other team is literally just crabless. They're making it work, even if they don't have the godlike special.
Corn Dog is a pretty unconventional comp just because you don't see the crabs, you're not seeing missiles, you're not even seeing you are seeing a bubbler, but it's not from the Vanilla Junior, but 2 from In Your Walls is already going down as the boss is pushing far into spawn. They are able to get that pick, but they're just getting pushed back as the Nautilus is starting to take control of their snipe. Meanwhile, one of them is already halfway through breaking the checkpoint as the tower moves further and further into the base of In Your Walls.
Crab Tank coming out, but getting canceled immediately by Surskit, and that blaster getting caught dead in their tracks with that. And it's a wipeout.
Wipeout.
Yeah, Corn Dog is like, all right, we had a DC. We're just going to come back in and we're just going to scrub it immediately. The machine is trying to make one last play, but it is not enough. Corn Dog is going to take this set 2-0.
Corn Dog said that we had a DC after the first minute. We're not going to let it last a minute. And just utter domination. We saw just that blaster going in with that frontline bubble, like really close to the enemy's perch where they would want to drop, and it just allowed them to pick people off one by one, starting with the Crab Tank before it could even get fully deployed. And that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing sort of the dynamic between faster and slower comps, with In Your Walls running a bit of a slower comp, especially with how they're using their crabs, in comparison to a team like Corn Dog, which was really using that range blaster, really using the mobility of the Nautilus and the shooters to just push their way in and take utter control.
They were just pushing in there, and they were just catching In Your Walls dead in their tracks. You saw the blaster just immediately canceling that Crab Tank left and right, making sure that they couldn't really do much with them. Just getting caught in their tracks. That's something you want to watch out for when you're playing that Crab Tank. You want to make sure that you're not going to get picked off from behind. But with that, that is going to be the end of round 1, and we're going to go on a short break here. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere as we move on to Winners Round 2.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to Winners Round 2 of Squid Junction 34. I am once again NM, of course, joined by Pinky as we are moving on to Vivid versus Legato, a best of 5 starting out here with Splat Zones on Hagglefish Market. How do you think this is going to play out, Pinky?
I don't know. Splatfish or Splat Zone's Hagglefish is one of the most beloved map modes in this game, but it can be somewhat defensive. But whichever team makes the first push is going to be really reliant on the flanks on either side of the stage. Those are huge areas of the map to have control of because it kind of lets you circumvent mid in a sense and get around the zone, which really lets you put a lot of pressure on other teams.
It just allows you to have really good pressure on the other teams, allowing for really good flanks, making sure that you're always aware of what's going on the map. You gotta watch those left and right alleys to make sure nobody's flanking you, and then you have the perfect opportunity maybe to flank the opposing team. It's something definitely notable on this map, and in something like Splat Zones, that's definitely going to be useful, especially because most of the focus is on the middle of the map.
And having control of that middle is how you score, but we are just gonna hop right into it. Game 1 of Vivid versus Legato, and I guess we will see what each of these teams are packing and what they plan on doing. We see the Nautilus and the Tetra comp against the E-Leader. E-Leader being so good on this map on the side of Vivid. Meanwhile, we have a faster sort of Nautilus Tetra with the Flingza comp. It's going to be very interesting to see how these teams sort of shake out and how these comps sort of work for themselves, as we already see the Squelchies taking advantage of the flank and getting a quick pick on the Tetras.
Yeah, no, getting a quick pick on the Tetras is going to be good, because that's going to be the main weapon that's going to be wanting to be in the opponent's face here, as Eclipse is just trying to stay alive and see if they can get anything else. One of the splashes is down on Legato as they're just trying to make sure that they don't get picked off. They have their wave breaker at the ready. They're just trying to fight the Tetris and the Knot. The Knot's going to jump out. Perfect time from them to push up here and see what more they can get. Trying to from some splat bombs in order to displace the opponents. And here comes the wave breaker. Tetris are focused on it, which allows for the dueling squelchers to just try to push in, but no. They're going to get picked off here by QT as they're going to be pushing up in here, but gets picked off themselves. Not good, but they're trying to push back in here, but Legato can't seem to find anything. Getting it back into the neutral, they're just trying to paint as much as they can, and they get the zone. That's what they love to see.
Yeah, Legato finally gets the zone, but Vivid is able to push it all the way to 24. We saw the dueling squelchers going insane, and we're already seeing Vivid being up 2 against Legato. Legato going 2 down. They will likely have to forward control the zone with it, and we're just seeing Vivid using all components of the map really well to make sure that they're just able to snuff out any approaches from the Tetras or the Nautilus. And being so spread out, they're making sure that missiles aren't getting a lot of value on the side of Legato.
Yeah, no, they're making sure that those missiles aren't getting a lot of value here. Dueling Squelcher's still on that topic. Clips just trying to make sure that they keep the members of Legato out of mid. But one is trying to go for something. It's Qvia. They're trying to make sure that they can get off Eclipse, but Eclipse has got to stay alive, but they drop, allowing for the Knot to take back their canopy once again with the Dueling Squelchers going down. Qvia and the Flings are trying to push up. That's 2 down on Vivid. This might be the reversal that we've been waiting to see from Legato here. As the E-Leader's trying to keep watch, we see a Wave Breaker coming out. The E-Leader can't seem to finish off with their shots here, as Qvia is still alive and trying to cause more havoc with their Nautilus.
Yeah, and the E-Leader here is able to reach so far, getting the pick on the Nautilus, but we just saw how far away he was able to contest mid, as now that the E-Leader is starting to push up, we see a slight man advantage on the side of Vivid. The Squelchers are able to pick off the Tetras, which extends it even more. It's now a 4 versus 2 scenario, and we're seeing Vivid once again taking control of the zone as the Squelchers continue to try and fight in the enemy team's base, finally getting taken down by the Splash, but it's just been back and forth, all or nothing control of the map all game, and we're seeing the scores starting to get a little closer to each other, although Vivid is getting closer to breaking out of their penalty.
Yeah, no, they're getting closer here. Vivid just trying. They're out of their penalty here, and they're going into the last 10 points, but not before the Splash is trying to say something about it. This is Legato's last chance to push in and try to take this zone. They're putting all their cards on the table, using that Reslider to get the last bit of paint they needed to get another penalty on Vivid. But the double Wave Breaker is going to be coming out here with the E-Leader keeping watch of that right. The Wave Breaker actually getting a pick on the Tetras. Being a dueling player, Wave Breakers are not fun to go up against, especially if you're something like a Tetris, because jumping is a little hard to do if you're not used to it. But as we see here, Legato is just trying to push back in because that penalty is almost down on the side of Vivid. That Crab Tank is trying to keep the Tetris out of the way, but Cutie Pie is trying to get back in there. They're in single digits, but it's 3 down on the side of Legato, and that is going to spell GG's with a wipeout. The first game going to Vivid.
Yeah, and we just saw immediately how the Dueling Sculpture was able to take control of the sort of right side of the map, that right drop area, and just how much havoc they were able to wreak, getting 2 people to watch them a lot, and that took attention away from the zone and mid, and that's what let Vivid push up and push through zone and just hold such a dominant control of the game, and they were able to continue that gambit as the Duelist Culture kept winning fights. It's really interesting to see how they're able to make such a strong offensive gambit just to set up so strong defensively, with the E-Leader defending from so far away, making sure no one goes near the zone, with how powerful its sidelines are from so far away.
Yeah, no, the Dueling Sculptures and the leader were very important in getting them the win, allowing for a lot of pressure, making sure that the opposing team wasn't really thinking of much, alongside the Dueling Sculptures being the main one going in there and getting picks. But we're going to be moving on here to the second round. Going to be Rainmaker on Eeltail Alley. I'm curious to see how the comps kind of change up with this long and narrow map. You know, it's Rainmaker. You know, Tacticooler does well in Rainmaker. You know, maybe there's a certain beacon Tacticooler weapon we could see played here. I don't know.
You could see a few toothbrushes on the battlefield. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I hope we see some dapples. I always love seeing some dapples. You know. Love those. Love that weapon. But we're just gonna have to wait and see on what these teams are thinking of for their comp as we are now getting into the match. About to see what they are cooking for their comps here. Going on either side, let's see what they got here. We see Legato coming out, Tetris Jr., Knot, and Splash. We have an Explo on the side of Vivid. That's actually pretty interesting with the Tetras, T-Tech, and Splash. Expo you mainly see on something like Splat Zone, so seeing on Rainmaker, even though it's a really good weapon, is definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's a very strong overall weapon, but I would have definitely expected staying on the E-Leader here, just because it's able to see so much of the map without cover. But we're seeing the Crab Tank already come out. We're seeing 2 go down on the side of Vivid, as they're just pushing in with the Rainmaker now. That Crab was able to get so much value, and now they're just gunning it straight for the first checkpoint. They tried to stop it with a Tri-Strike, but they're not able to stop the checkpoint from being breached. And now, I mean, they all go down as Vivid is able to retake control of mid. But that was a huge early gambit to break the first checkpoint, which is often super critical in Rainmaker games. Which team breaks first check will have a much easier time pushing the end. And we're unable to see Vivid break the checkpoint themselves. They're going to need a little more time to break it.
Need a little bit more time here. The restart are coming out, but getting immediately canceled by that Knot. But they are able to get the checkpoint. Teams are pretty much tied, but Legato still has the lead here, so they got to make sure nobody touches that Rainmaker, or else that's not going to be fun for them. Keeping away that T-Tag, trying to say, don't even think about it, buddy. Getting eclipsed there, the Tetras were not the play here. As we see the Knot just trying to push up, making sure they're staying alive. The Inkstorm helping them out for sure here. As the Wavebreaker is out too, the triple Ink Strike coming out, but not before the T-Tech gets picked off here. As Kutia is trying to get in, sees somebody on that right, but it's 2 down. It's just a Knot. They gotta play back, but that's gonna be a wipeout in favor of Vivid. This might be their chance to push into Legato's base and get the victory. But the Splash is going to go down. Same with the Tetris. This is actually the chance, but they can't find a way up the ramp. But they finally do. They're pushing in. They get it all the way down to 19. That is going to be a really good lead for them.
Exactly. They got so far down the bridge, which is often so difficult on a map, on this kind of map where the bridge is unequal, it's so narrow. And they push it even further down to 7, almost getting a knockout. 2 do go down to the side of Vivid, so that is likely going to be the end of their push. But Vivid is just pinning Legato in a corner at this point. We're seeing pretty much pushes are beginning and ending with 2 people being up and 2 people being down, and we are seeing 2 down on the side of Legato. So we're going to have to see how Vivid continues to extend their advantage. They still do have man advantage, and they just still have so much control on the enemy bridge area. Another goes down, the Nautilus goes down. Tetris trying to make something happen, but just can't find an opening to get in and really wreak havoc the way that they're supposed to. And we're just seeing Legato get boxed out a little bit by Vivid.
Yeah, no, they just keep getting boxed out by Vivid here, but with 2 minutes left on the clock, you definitely don't want to see your Tetris go down, but you know, they are Tetris. They're your QR weapon. If anybody is going to go down, it should be those Tetras. Nobody else here. As we see Ressa coming out with the triple Ink Strike, trying to see what they can pick off here as the team is going to try to move up. 2 down on the side of Legato. That's not going to spell anything good for them. Of course, they're not going to try to pick up the Rainmaker, but instead just make sure that Legato can't have a way back in, just trying to box them out. As we see the Explo is taking a good vantage point on the bridge here, trying to make sure that nobody is getting out. Backing up, they do have an Inkstorm at the ready, but there's 2 specials coming out from Legato at the ready too. They have a Wavebreaker, they have a Crab Tank. If they use those well, they might be able to push back into mid here. But Tugster is gonna go down. That's their Crab Tank gone, as the Knot is already found, and they're looking really weak. 2 down on the side of Legato. This isn't good. They just can't find a way back in.
Yeah, and we're just really seeing the strength of the Explosion on this map that we doubted at the beginning, but it's just able to have so much control over so many areas because of how mobile it is as a weapon, with the point sensors and being able to deny so much control. But Legato's just not been able to break through this strong offensive Vivid as they're just kind of setting up at their own base. We just keep seeing people go down in waves of 2, and that just spells the end. Tetris are going to pick off the Splash, though. We do see a 3v3 as the Junior does go down. The Splash... Oh, it's a 2v2 scenario for control of mid. We do see the rain come out on both sides as well. Tetris are just trying to stay alive, rolling backwards into the rain. They might get picked off by the rain itself. Oh, they're able to survive. But there's just not a lot of paint control on from Legato where they need to be able to push forward. As just 15 seconds left on the clock, they're going to have to desperately grab the Rainmaker and try to make some sort of last-ditch Blaze of Glory push happen. But they go 2 down. The Crab is able to pick off 1, trades, but now it's a 2v1 scenario. It's just the Nautilus alone by himself as they're tri-striking the Rainmaker, and that's going to be game 2. Once again, going to Vivid. Incredibly well played.
That is not what you want to see. In those last 2 minutes, Legato literally could not find any single way of getting back in there. They probably should have just used all their specials at once. It would have been a great cost, but that would have been better than staying for about 2 minutes in their base with no way of getting back into mid. They could use. They had the Crab Tank, they had Wave Breaker, they had Reef Slider, which is, you know, you're not really going to get much off of a Reslider, but you can use that as maybe like a little bit of a sacrifice, just trying to displace opponents. It's really tragic, but we are going to be moving on here to tower control on Sturgeon's Shipyard. I mean, Undertow Spillway.
I've never seen sewers that look quite like a shipyard, but yeah, we are going to be moving on to Undertow Spillway. Once again, another strong map for E-Leader, another strong map for Exploshers. Well, I'm of the opinion that Explosion is actually kind of solid in tower control, so we might see it come out again, but more importantly, I think we might see a comp shakeup on the side of Legato. They've been running with that Tetra and Nautilus, and it just has not been proving to work out so far. They just haven't been able to get the right dives, the right open ups that they've been looking for, and it's going to be interesting to see not only how their comp change, but how their strategies change to combat the strong offensive Vivid that's just been kind of suffocating them this entire set.
Yeah, no. They're going to have to try to find a way of picking some good weapons here because it's clear that their comp might not be working all too much, especially if they're being pushed back with no way of getting back in that second match. That might be something saying, okay, maybe this comp isn't working out, and we need something that might be able to help us better. We're going to have to wait and see here as the match is now just starting. So we're going to be seeing the comps coming out from both of these teams. What are they going to be?
Yeah, and it's important to know it is game 3, but Vivid up 2-0. This is their set point. We are going to be seeing the same sort of comp with the Custom Junior and the Splash. Meanwhile, Vivid going to the Splatter Scope, going with the Charger, but not quite the one I expected. I guess the Vacuum is very strong on tower control for the defense, and we see Eclipse bring out their own Tetra Duelies to sort of try and deal with the opposing Tetras. So we're going to be seeing a lot of battles of the Tetras, and whichever one is able to go in stronger with a stronger dive is going to be able to have more control. But on terms of control, Legato has all the control right now, pushing way far ahead, getting a little bit of points on that first checkpoint, but being forced to retreat by the Crab on the side of Vivid, as it's now a 2v2 scenario with both teams fighting for control in mid.
One of the Tetras does have their Reef Slider at the ready, but they're going to try to back up, trying to push in here again, trying to see if they can get any members of Vivid. They had a good start on the tower, but didn't really make any plays onto the Ink Vac. As we see, 2 going down on the side of Legato, that Ink Vac was really helpful, allowing the Tetras to fight 2 members without getting picked off themselves, having that protection. As we see the Charger just on the tower, denying so much space, going past that first checkpoint, and nobody on Legato seems to be positioned well to take on this tower, though they are trying their best to push up on this Charger. They have to play back here. They have their Ink Vac at the ready. They're going to be putting it off here and now, trying to see if they can get anything. Gets a pick on Cutie Pie, as it is just the C Junior left alive. They're going to have to jump back and play for another day, as it's going to be an easy shred for Vivid on this second checkpoint.
Yeah, and second checkpoint is so crucial in this map because it's right underneath the grates that pretty much lead right into opponent's spawn. And speaking of the spawn, we see the Tetris going all the way in with the Reef Slider, able to get a pick. Oh, but 3 go down to the side of Vivid is just a Splash, and they're going to have to run away. They're going to have to retreat for a little bit more control. As Legato's trying to get back into it, we do see the Custom Junior on the tower, but they are going to go down to the Tetra Duelies. Tetras go down there with a Splash. It's now 2 versus 2. The Nautilus goes down. And now it's just the Tetras on the side of Legato, as the Chargers pushing all the way back on their snipe, pushing one forward once again now that they have their Ink Vac, trying to set up more aggressively, as we've been seeing them doing, just using their aggression to take so much space in such key defensive positions, as the Charger is now overlooking the area where the second checkpoint once was. Getting pressured by the Torpedoes from the Custom Junior, though, and the wave breaker, and now there's a splash, but they do pop the ink vac to save themselves. Is able to pick the Tetris, and get the double with the ink vac, staying alive, getting a crucial double kill with the ink vac, extending their control and their pressure as the Nautilus is forced to jump back into spawn. What a huge play on the Charger on the side of Vivid, just able to keep them back even more as the crab battle comes out for control of the tower. The crab on the tower does fall first, but we're just able to see them continue to push a little more forward, but they do go 2 down on the side of Vivid. And Legat is able to get the pick on the other splash, so they're finally able to get some control in mid again. We're gonna have to see if this is gonna be able to lead to another push opportunity if they have not been able to push really since the first 30 seconds of the game. Charger popping ink vacuum once again to stop the splash. It's such a hard position, but it looks like they're already able to break the first checkpoint finally. We'll have to see what this kind of leads into as it's now 3v3.
Yeah, they're trying to get on that second check, but it's going to be 2 down on the side of Legato. Pretty much a wipe. The Tetras, they know where the Tetras are going to go, but the Tetras are trying to get something here, but it is going to be a wipeout in favor of Vivid. Legato, with a minute and a half left, are not in a good spot here, as they got to go from 64 to 23. That's going to be really hard to do. The Reefs ladder just not really doing much, but of course the member was already picked off there. But that's going to be 2 down on the side of Vivid, as Grass is just trying to push up here with the C Junior, getting the Wave Breaker off. Of course, this weapon with its 180p just is a Wave Breaker spammer. That's a really good niche it has right now here, as it is trying to fight the Tetris, gets away with it, and walks away, but not before that Ink Vac comes out of nowhere and picks them off. Go on, picking them off out of nowhere. I'm not even sure they knew about the C Junior's location, but not before the Crab Tank takes them off themselves. Tugster just trying to get some positioning for their teammates here. 1 down on either side. There's a Crab on that left side there too, as Eclipse is going to go down. 1 down on either side. Tetra and not down, as Tugster is just in the corner. They're not really sure what to do here. They gotta back off and make sure that that Splat Charger does not pick them off here.
And we are getting down to the final 30 seconds. This Charger is just set up so well and Snipe. Tedra's all the way in, gets the trade with the Splash-O-Matic, but that is absolutely a trade Vivid will take as 3 go down to the side of Legato, leaving just the Tetra alone by themselves. And this is just being an utter stomp as Vivid is just able to take so much control, pushing so far in with their offensive weapons, their offensive playstyle that Legato just has not been prepared for this entire set. We're getting down to the last 10 seconds, and Legato is so far away from the tower. 3 of them go down. It's just the Tetra. It's the wipeout, and that's going to be game, set, and match as Vivid takes it 3-0 over Legato here in Winners Round 2.
That has got to sting. As we saw there, Vivid just never quit. They never backed down, and they just kept coming in, taking fights, taking picks, and taking names, and taking the set. And they're going to be moving on to Winners Round 3. Great job on them. Pretty much the winners semifinals. But of course, that's going to be coming out shortly, but just after a break. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere, as we will be waiting for the Winners Round 3.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the winners semifinals for Squid Junction 34. This time around, we have two pretty popular teams here. Nightmare, that has been making a name for themselves recently. Div 1 players really good going up against Hex. Cracked roster, Seth, Zero Rapid, Violet, and Jisha. I am, of course, joined by Pinky once again, as we are going to be seeing these map modes unfold, starting out with Splatzone's Mako Mart. I can't even introduce or even finish because we're just getting right into it here.
Yeah, right here on Splatzone's Mako Mart, sometimes referred to as the final destination of this game, in just the sense that it's very balanced, it's very even. And a lot of people like the stage, but not a lot of people like the tandem missiles that are coming out in this game already on the side of, I believe it's Hex. Jisha already going down, strangely enough. Oh, they just didn't spawn in right. As we see a quick cap of the zone, but just breaking down the comps a little bit, we are seeing an X-Slosher. Oh, I can't even get through this. 3 of them already go down. Nightmare's already just taking complete control of the stack area on the side of Hex and just able to push them all the way back into spawn.
Yeah, no, not looking good for Hex here, as Miner is keeping a watch on that right stack, but has to back up due to those missiles. Even if they were nerfed heavily, they are still a force to be reckoned with. Triple Ink Strike from T-Tech coming out. Of course, most likely going to take that zone as they do, but Storm is getting picked off there as 2 are making their way on that left stack. Zeph and Rapid over there, the Booyah Bomb coming out. 1 down on either side, and Hex is making sure they still have this zone. 2 down on the side of Nightmare. Not looking good for them right now. Just a shot in the machine left alive. Zeph taking control of that right block, making sure that they keep control of it here as they're getting down to the 60s. Have the triple ink strike at the ready, using it, but that Trizuka is trying to find them. The Booyah Bomb comes out in the zone, but that's not going to be enough as the machine is pushing up here. The T-Tech has to run, but they cannot hide from Storm, saying, "You think you're good with a shot, but I am Storm T-Tech, and I am going to wreck you."
And we saw 3 of them go down on Hex as the Splash-O-Matic jumps out. And this is kind of where Nightmare's comp really succeeds and is in his strongest. We have that Explosher, which is just able to deny so much of the map, paint the zone so well from so far away. And we're seeing a lot of play going around on the stacks, the raised platforms on either side of mid. That's where a lot of the play comes out. As we see a Crab versus a Trizuka come out, they're in a bit of a stalemate as the missiles come out from the Flinks roller and decide to Hex to help. Said Flinks goes down. It's now a 3 versus 3 scenario as Nightmare's gone through their penalty already and is now pushing down through the 30s. If Hex has any last effort, it is going to be fully activated, but they're just getting boxed in. We see the Explosher and the Sloshing Machine just being able to cover so many angles with their arc shots, just being able to hit over walls and over ledges so easily. And Nightmare is full cap of the zone. It's 3 versus 3. The missiles are coming out, but they might not even land in time. Oh, but they're contesting for control in the last few seconds. There's 2 seconds left on Nightmare's countdown, and they're going to be able to get it in the cap. The Tri-Strike was not enough on the side of Hex, and Nightmare is going to be able to take game 1 on Splatzone's Inkblot.
Yeah, no, they try to use the triple ink strike there to take control of the zone, as if you got those free really good ink strikes, you can be able to take zone relatively easily, but as you saw there, it was just not enough, and the quad bow is going to end that first match, going into Nightmare's favor, and now going to Tower Inkblot. If you've seen Splatomax, you will know that Tower Blot is a map mode that people like to counterplay.
Our Inkblot is a very interesting map mode. It gives a lot of opportunities to both teams, but Inkblot is one of the maps that I feel like is kind of prone to lockouts on that platform area. You do need to be very smart with how you push back in once the enemy team gets control of the platform, and thus that is something that, especially on a mode like Tower Control, where the objective is very mobile, is something that both teams are going to be taking into heavy consideration here, as they're trying to adjust their comps, see what Hex trying to see how they can sort of combat what Nightmare has brought to offer with their ability to slosh over ledges, not being as important on Inkblot as it was on Mako Mart, but still being a tremendous advantage of that raised platform.
It's going to be a tremendous advantage. Of course, both of the teams are not really thinking about what's going to work on the map, but, well, maybe the mode, because, again, it is Tower Control. There are specials that do prove to be useful, but in terms of, like, the map, Inkblot is very neutral. There's not really truly a weapon that takes advantage or takes disadvantage. It's basically, if weapons take advantage or disadvantage of the meta, it's going to be pretty neutral on this map. not saying they go to neutral, but the map's not really going to affect much. Inkblot's very neutral in that regard, so we're just going to have to wait and see on if some teams are sticking with their comps, or if some teams are opting to change it around a little bit.
Yeah, and as described before, Inkblot kind of is the great equalizer. I mean, I did briefly mention that Zone's Mako is considered the final destination, but this is really where both teams are on the most even playing field possible, at least for this point in the set. And we're just going to have to see what each team really brings to the table and how they're going to be able to fight around the offense and the defense of each other, as we are going to be shortly getting to this match, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what's going on here. I do hope, though, like, I still have flashbacks from commentating Splatoon Max. The amount of tower control Inkblots and other mode Inkblots I saw that day were exponential, even watching it after my commentary block was over. It was like, man, these teams, they really like Inkblot. Again, it is that equalizer, which is why it was picked so much. But
I mean, that's... Oh, sorry. It is part of why Inkblot has made its way into this game from Splatoon 2. It was just it was a very beloved stage, and a lot of the changes they made in between games, especially to the lower areas on the sides of each side of mid, have really helped to benefit the stage even more. But we are now getting into it. Tower Control Inkblot Art Academy. We are going to be seeing each of these comps. We're seeing the Machine Expo comp once again, this time with the 52 gal, and we once again see a very similar comp on the side of Hex, bringing out that Flingza and Splash Machine 10 attack once again.
Seeing no real big changes, just like going, oh, no, DC.
Just an immediate disconnect. That's a very quick change to Hex's comp. They're only bringing 3 players to this game.
They're only bringing 3 players into this game. They're going balls to the walls here, saying, you know what, we can do this, 3 players. We can do it.
I kid, of course, but very unfortunate quick disconnect. This game will have to be replayed. That is just a function of Splatoon 3, unfortunately. Just a little small factor of the Nintendo Switch Online, but they're getting a little bit better as time goes on. But I guess just to quickly break down what we saw from the comps, we did see the Explosher Sloshing Machine duo coming back again, but we also saw a crabless comp from Nightmare, which is something that's somewhat rare at this point in the meta.
It's really weird seeing, you know, a crabless comp, but it can work. The thing is with meta, it's like you can use it. You can use it to build your comps, but it's not an end-all be-all. It's not like, oh, if you don't have a crab in your comp, you're trash, bro. You're not gonna win this match. You know, you can still win the match, but you just gotta make sure that you're playing off of your weapons very well, because the crab tank, it's very stupid in how much it helps.
Exactly, crab tank is really strong, but the counterplay largely does come from the sloshing machine being one of the best counters, which is why we're seeing it so much. But now we're getting back into it, this time hopefully for real, with 0 disconnects, with all 4 players on both sides of the team. We're once again seeing the Shot Machine X-Flow 52 on the side of Nightmare, up against the 10 attacks Machine, Splash, and Flingza on Hex's side, and we're gonna have to see just how this all shakes out going forward.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see here on how these 2 teams are gonna play off their comps. But as I say that, Miner is gonna go down right at the beginning, leaving Joe little naked on that left side. But it's gonna be 2 down on either side here as Storm is running away free, trying to play alongside the Gal here and taking the tower, going for that first checkpoint as the Flingza is just trying to get their missiles. The Trizuka coming out from Storm. Both of their shots not really getting anything, but that is going to be the Sloshing Machine taken down here as they are moving on, trying to see if they can get anything else. Going for that second checkpoint. There is a triple ink check at the ready and a crab tank coming out from Hex. This might be their chance to get control back of their plat, which they are going to, as Joe is down currently on the side of Nightmare. Their 52 is gone, just respawning now, so they gotta make sure they play safe, or else it might just be GG's.
Exactly. We are trying to see Hex trying to get control back, but they are kind of clumped up together on the platform. The machine does drop right, but it's just being contested by the Explosher from miles away. As the Splash goes down to the 52 gal, unable to deal with the Splash Wall. One of the small weaknesses of the weapon kit, having Burst Bomb, is that it can't deal with wall very well. And we see the very same 52 trying to set up on the platform, but it does go down to the 10 missiles. We do see 3 people on the side of Nightmare trying to push this tower, but the man advantage is just not on their side. And that push is going to dissolve, but the machine does go down to the shot. it's a 2 versus 3 scenario with Nightmare having slight man advantage. They can convert this, especially as the 10 attack is being cornered on this right side of the map around their raised area, sitting next to the crab. Oh,
Yeah.
52 goes down once again on the side of Nightmare. The 52's just been pushing so aggressively, but has just been getting picked off more and more as time goes on.
Yeah, no. It's not looking good for them right now, as Hex is just trying to make their way through this middle here. Jisha on the tower, trying to see if they can push through. I hear a Booyah Bomb coming out as it does, but one of them is trying to push in. Joe is gonna go down here as they're making their way past first check. It is just 2 of them left, and they're clumping together with those Stun missiles out. This is the chance for Hex to get in here. The Flings are just keeping on that tower, making sure they try to get the lead. They're so close, but they're not getting it. But Jisha is trying to sacrifice themselves to see if they can get lead. But it's so close! But they can't quite get it. The machine is just trying to see if they can get anything, but they are gonna get shredded here. Not living for another day, as Miner is trying to push up the rest of their team, but Hex is not going down without a fight. They still have control of mid here, which Storm is trying to get on that right side. Violet is gonna go down to Miner. That's gonna be that crab down, as they're just trying to push up. Killer Whale and Inkstorm are coming out from the side of Nightmare, trying to see if they're going to be able to push in, as Miner is opting to go for bats, but they're not sure if that's going to be the right play, as they fall into the water because of the Tenna missiles. Truly tragic.
So unfortunate, and that just goes to show how strong Tenna missiles is in manipulating movement. And we did see Nightmare try to extend their lead that was shown to be pretty fragile, but now Hex is coming for that very same lead. They got so close before being able to just start the point of the checkpoint. As the missiles continue to force them back and to clump them together, we see the special, the Tri-Strike, the Booyah Bomb, and 2 of them go down on the side of Nightmare. It's just the Explosion alive on the side of Nightmare, throwing Storm at the tower. That's not going to be enough, as Hex takes the lead and gets past checkpoint 2. A crucial barrier, and they're now pushing even further into Spawn, trying to get to that 3rd checkpoint area. Machine battle up in the battlements, but 2 go down to the side of Hex. Machine popping Booyah in the middle of nowhere. And it's getting collapsed on 2, but trades at the 52 gal. It's just a splatter shot alive on the side of Nightmare. And Hex could potentially continue this push even more.
They might be able to continue this push even more, but we're just going to have to wait and see here, as Storm is just trying to push in. They have to make something happen here in this last minute, as Hex got that lead, and they don't want to live with that here, as they are just trying to push on. But no, that's going to be 2 down on the side of Nightmare. Seth is going to jump back and make sure they live for another day, as they are in a really good spot here. Machine's going to go down on the side of Hex, but that doesn't really matter, as they are just keeping control. But this might not be good, as Nightmare is trying to push up here, but the triple ink strike is going to help out. 2 down on the side of Nightmare, not looking good for them. But, ooh, Jisha is going to go down to Joe. They're trying to push in here. They get the T-Tech. The Killer Whale is coming out. It is just a splash, but where's the splash? They don't know, but Joe does not care. They're going to push up on bats, but they found the splash. Splash is on bats alongside the Flingsa. Most of them watching that bats area. Is just Joe is trying to stay alive and push as much as they can. This is Nightmare's final hurrah here, as they're just trying to push as much as possible. Zero Rapid on that bat's going to get picked off. It is looking so close. Can Nightmare do it? The 10 missiles are coming up. Zeph is going for the tower. Gets in the last possible second. So close. But the 10 missiles were just enough to pick off the member on the tower and secure the win for Hex.
The defense on the side of Hex was so strong. The 10 missiles coming out at the very end of the most clutch possible moment. We couldn't see the 52 gal get any picks, unfortunately, and those 10 missiles was just the deciding factor. But NM, I think it's safe to say we have a set. Both teams up 1-up on this best of 5 series. It is first of 3 wins, but this is very competitive. It's very back and forth. We saw these trade very easily in that game, as Hex is able to push it all the way over to 26. Nightmare got close, but just couldn't quite piece it all together. And it's going to be interesting to see how both teams react from that and move forward into the game 3, which is going to be on Hagglefish Rainmaker.
Yeah, they're going up here, Rainmaker Hagglefish here. I think here, of course, there is the classic jump that people know, going from that middle checkpoint up onto the plat. But in terms of top level play, as we're seeing here, that is more and more harder to pull off because it's so expected. we've seen a lot of teams going on that left side at the beginning, going for that left checkpoint to at the very least get that check. They're not really pushing from that left, and if they do, they're just in a really good situation. They're always going to push from that middle area of Hagglefish, maybe not for the jump, but maybe on the ramp. But in terms of getting that first lead, it is really helpful to take that left checkpoint and maybe just try to back up a little bit or go to middle from there.
And we are getting into it. It'll be interesting to see how the left checkpoint comes into play in this match, if at all, as we're getting into Game 3 of Hex versus Nightmare. 1-1 each side, so this is a true even game, as we see that the Explosion and the Machine are here to stay. Both comps are very similar on both sides. We're just seeing a Ten-Attack being swapped for a vanilla Splatter Shot, or I guess the Hero Shot, I should say. And these comps are very similar. Let's see how the playstyles will differ as we head forth. We see the Explosion going right for the tower. The Flings are charging missiles and spawn, and is able to get them very early to just get some location and some long distance pressure. But we are in a bit of a neutral state here. Neither team really wants to die. They want to make sure they avoid a pick. And as I say it, the Hero Shot on the side of Hex does go down as the Flings is being pushed back, forced to jump to spawn by the 52 gal, taking control of that left checkpoint area. And instead, the rest of Nightmare is going straight for the first checkpoint through the middle. And now it's up to Hex to prevent the jump that will get Nightmare to around 30 points. Let's see if they can do it.
No, they cannot, as they get the jump and they get a good amount of distance towards the final checkpoint there. As they get down to 18, but it's only the Splash left. They're going for that, and they get a wipeout, and they get it. That was such a quick match. Nightmare just going in there, having constant aggression, getting the jump, getting the picks, getting the wipeout, and being able to take this set 2-1, showing we are not going to get wiped so easily here, as we're just going to wipe you really quick there, giving our quad bow once again. Moving on to the fourth match here, Eeltail Alley on Clamblitz.
Yeah, Eeltail Clamblitz is certainly an interesting case, but I just want to go over that game on Hagglefish Rainmaker. We saw sort of the play of the checkpoints going on as the 52 gal on the side of Nightmare was going for that left checkpoint, almost in a baiting sort of sense, as he was able to win that 1v1, and the rest of the team of Hex was just unable to stop Nightmare from getting that central checkpoint as they just got the jump and kept moving forward. And as we know, continuing to move forward is something that's been very prominent in this whole tournament. The team that gets the most control is able to make the largest pushes, and that's especially important as we go into Game 4 on a mode as volatile as Clamblitz.
Clamblitz, as stated time and time again by so many other people, is a mode that mainly relies on coordination. If you don't have good coordination with your teammates, it is going to fall flat in your face. So these teams got to make sure that they are playing well with each other, playing well off each other's weapons, using their specials for a good push to be able to get points, get clams, get picks. That's what both of these teams are going to want to be looking for here. The question is how they're going to be able to do that. What weapons are they going to be playing? What specials are they going to have on the battlefield? How are they going to want to push? Are they going to want to push from the bridge up top? Are they going to want to push from main down low? We're just going to have to wait and see on what both of these teams want to do.
Exactly, and it is battle time. We've been seeing very similar comps from both teams all set. We have been seeing the double slosher from Nightmare with the Explosion and the Machine just being able to get chip damage for each other. So it's going to be interesting to see how things change. And there's a second 52 gal on the side of Nightmare that we've been seeing Hex struggle to deal with as Hex brings out their own splatter scope, maybe to deal with the Explosion from far away from beyond its reach. And we are also going to see the Splatter Shot Junior trying to take advantage of the Crabless comp on the side of Nightmare. As we all know, Crab is the greatest counter to Bubbler. And we're seeing the Bubbler instead of the Tentacles. I guess they just didn't like how the Flings was working out for them before. Decided to make the switch for the Junior that's already deploying the Bubble in mid and is able to get a pick on one of the 52s, getting wailed by the other 52. But that's 3 down to the side of Nightmare immediately. And we're seeing Hex already have the power claim and already scoring.
Yeah, going all the way down to 45. Oh my god, going to 39 here. Nightmare has got to pick off the members of Hex, but it is just Miner left alive here, trying to make sure they don't get picked off, as Jisha is trying to run in, but gets scared very easily by that Fizzy Bomb. I really like the comp coming out by Hex. As you can see, they're like, you know, maybe we don't need the 10 missiles, so we can go with the Junior. Vanilla Shot, of course, with the Trizuka, but it is working out really well for them so far here, as Zeph is just trying to hide, making sure that they have good control, backing up onto their plat, trying to see if they can get anything on bridge on that snipe. They're just trying to stay alive. One of their members is down, but I'm hearing some specials coming out. Bubbler, Crab, can we see the Trizuka come out? They're already using 2 of their specials just on defense, but it doesn't seem like Nightmare is doing much of anything to push in. That might be some wasted specials here, as we are trying to see Nightmare trying to push in and secure the win for winter semifinals, but it is looking to be really hard for them. They are in a very disadvantageous spot, being at a 39 lead on the side of Hex, but a trade between the Machine and the Junior might help them out here.
Yeah, and one of the big disadvantages of the way Hex is playing right now is that 2 of them have power claims, one of them being the Splash, and that means that the location of the Splash and the Junior is telegraphed to the entire team, and that allows plays like that where the 52 can just pick off the Splash very easily, and that's one of the main sources of offense at the side of Hex, and their biggest form of pressure is that Crab being the only Crab in this match, as we're seeing the Junior on the side of the bridge gets this bomb on the Splash wall to kill the 52, a little bit of little-known tech for those at home. And we're seeing 2 go down to the side of Nightmare. Ooh. 3 go down. It's just the Explosion remaining as the 52 comes from spawn. And the Juniors is able to push up, getting a very aggressive bubble. Unfortunately, a bit shorted by the bridge, but still able to push up really far with that power clam. And Hex is threatening to score once again as the Explosion is kind of limiting itself on just that left side of the map.
Yeah, no, they're limiting themselves here. As we see, Zap is just trying to stay back, using the Trizuka to see if they can find any picks. Already one of their shots down, they just have to let out the other 2 because of how short the time is you have with the Trizuka here, trying to stay alive. They still have 2 super clams here. They're trying to keep both of them alive. They might be able to push off well with them, as we're just waiting to see on what they're going to want to do.
And the Machine is able to break the basket, but so many are dead on the side of Nightmare. I don't think they're going to be able to get many more points as a result of this push. The Machine is able to jump one off the bridge, but is by themselves in a 1 versus 2. I think they're trying to jump the power clam to them, though. And the power clam is going to die before they're able to score. 77 is not the push that Nightmare needs. They just need more points in order to get this lead back from Hex. And Hex is already painting their base up so well and is able to take so much advantage of that wipeout. We see the 52 gal going down to the side of Nightmare as Splashmatic's pushing up with that Crab, using it very far forward. Gets the other 52 gal and is now pressuring the sort of courtyard area on the side of Nightmare as the Charger's able to push in with a big bubbler from the Junior. The Machine desperately trying to defend this area, but the Charger's able to get so much space, although it's forced to retreat because of how far up they are. There's only a minute left on this countdown clock, and Nightmare is the one that's being forced to push in. This is Hex's game to lose, and if Hex wins this, we'll be going to a Game 5 scenario, winner takes all. And looking at the clam guys at the top of the screen, we're seeing that Nightmare only has so many clams. Only the X-Blosher is close to making a ball, and they just went down as Hex is trying to push in once again with that Charger. He's able to take so much space and pressure so much of the map with that laser, with that sideline, and they might even go for another score. They have a very clear path to the ball, or to the goal painted, and they scored just now. The Charger holding a football, holding that threat, but they might just opt to run away, as that's going to make it a little more difficult for Nightmare, although Nightmare does have another power claim to play with. We'll have to see if that bites Hex in the butt as we move into the last 15 seconds of this match and then overtime.
Yeah, no, not looking good on the side of Nightmare right now here, as they got to try to find a way to just sweep, get into the enemy's base, get that clam basket open, and get as many clams as possible in here. As the Expo is trying to push on the left side, watching out for that splat bomb, but there's so much more watching them. It's not going to look good, especially if they're not painting their feet there, as Jisha gets a pick on them, using that big bubbler to say, you're not touching this, you're not touching this, it is over for you. And with that Machine just left alive, that is going to be curtains. Going to be a point for Hex. It is 2-2 right now. This is a very divisive set, with the last match going to be deciding who moves on to winners finals and who moves on to the loser bracket.
And as I said, and we do have a set ahead of us. Game 5 set just showing how evenly matched the competition is from Hex and Nightmare. We've been seeing Hex just able to take so much control of Eeltail, especially with that charger. You gotta imagine that the splatter scope is going to stay for the final match, which is going to be on tower control Undertow Spillway. And Chargers is so strong on this map, as is the Ink Vacuum on tower control especially.
Ink Vac is a very strong special for tower control. It has that good tower control niche. And the best option you can think of for that Ink Vac is the Splat Charger. Definitely performs the best with the special and is very good with it. So if they want to use an Ink Vac, they're going to be using that Splat Charger. In terms of what else we could see, maybe instead of the Splat Charger on the opposite side, we might see Nightmare trying to mix up their comp a bit. They tried to go double 52, but it didn't seem to work out very well for them there.
I could definitely see another vanilla shot or hero shot on the side of Nightmare with that suction bomb, able to pressure tower so effectively, but I'm not sure exactly what they're going to be going for. They've been sticking with the three of their members being pretty static between the Explosher, the Sloshing Machine, and the 52 gal. So we're going to see if it's going to be their fourth trying to experiment once again, or if they're just going to be all changing it up as we go into Game 5. Winner takes all of the set.
Mm-hmm. We're just going to have to wait and see on what both of these teams are going to be playing and how they're going to want to play this. It is Undertow, so it's going to be very horrible. We have seen what teams want to do on Undertow Tower before, so we're going to see if that's going to be played well here.
Exactly, and this stage can be so awkward to defend on, as the defending zone is kind of split into two areas by the large partition in the middle. Even if it doesn't fully extend that far, it makes it so telegraphed as to who wants to defend where, especially when one of the checkpoints is so far off to the right side of spawn. It just gives so many angles to attack from, but also so many angles to defend from. I feel like this is a very skill-dependent and skill-showing map in this video game. But we are heading right into it. Game 5 of Winner Semifinals, Winners Round 3. The winner of this game is going to win the set and move on through the winner's bracket, as we see an E-Leader coming out instead of the Explosher versus another E-Leader. A scope versus a non-scope, I believe. Or are they both non-scopes? No, they're both non-scopes. I apologize.
Yeah, seeing both of the teams actually opting to go leader here. We are seeing Storm going back to their classic shot as one of the members, the T-Tech, going to be picked off immediately by Nico, as Nightmare is going to be moving on into mid. 2 down on the side of Hex. Not a good beginning, as Joe is going to pick off Jisha here. Storm moving on to the left side. Nightmare showing that they can be very aggressive if they want to. They can be very oppressive, as Hex is going to try to move in and do what they can. But Violet is going to get their crap shredded immediately. Nico is going to get picked off on the tower. The other two teammates trying to get on there to shred the checkpoint. Storm left alive. They're trying to make sure that they at least get this checkpoint. Both Jisha on them, and it is not going to look good, as it is a delayed wipeout on the side of Nightmare.
Yeah, 50 points is a solid early push, but it's not what you want. Breaking that second checkpoint is so pivotal. You saw how easy it was for Hex to defend it from so many angles, from that graded area on the top, from the raised platform on the left side of the tower. It's just so easy to defend it, and now Hex is making their own sort of push. The whale from the 52 guy is going to be able to get people off the tower, but they are going to go down to the splat bomb from the Junior that is now on tower. It's a 4 versus 2 scenario as Hex is up, going into that second checkpoint, and we're going to have to see what kind of defense Nightmare has with their newly chosen E-Leader. Hex is very close to breaking the checkpoint, very close to getting the lead. They get the lead, and they get a checkpoint. They are going to go down and lose control of the tower temporarily. Two of them go down to the side of Hex, as the shot is able to get so much control. But breaking that checkpoint is exactly what Hex needs right now.
Yeah, no, breaking that checkpoint is exactly what they want to need. As one of them is going to be picked off by Zeph. It's 2 down on the side of Nightmare. Not what they want to see here. Booyah Bomb going to be placed down, but the machine is going to be picked off themselves. Hex is having a really good time here, and it seems like Zeph might know where Storm is, but not necessarily. As the triple ink strike is going to be played out here. But what is this? Jisha gets picked off, but it's by who? It's by Storm. T-Tech in the corner with their V-shot, but the tower is going to be moving away from them, taking down Joe and seeing Zeph, trying to see if they can be picking off anybody else.
Yeah, they just keep pushing as the tower moves further and further to the right of the spawn region of Nightmare. This is a very easy spot for them to defend, but they're just getting more and more points on this tower as they go below the 15-point mark, trying to break this third checkpoint. They're unable to do it, though, as 3 of them go down. It's just the E-leader on the side of Hex. But so they're going to have to try and regroup, but even then, Nightmare doesn't have all their players, and they certainly don't have all the map control. We're seeing so much of this map being purple, which just gives Hex so much room to move and so much space to play with. And as we've been seeing throughout the set and throughout this tournament, space to play with is what wins you games and what wins you sets. We're seeing a battle of the two E-leaders, as the one on the side of Hex does have the high ground, but it is getting Trizuka'd. Trizuka'd changes his targets and is now just... the E-leader's just trying to find some sort of picks to get some more advantage on the side of Nightmare, and we're seeing under 2 minutes left of this game. Nightmare's gonna have to make something happen as Hex made a deep push into their territory. Although the pick on the E-leader is going to be certainly a way to start this off. We're gonna have to see how this goes from here.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna have to see how this plays out from here. There's a 2 down on the side of Nightmare as Hex is trying to push up, but not before their splash gets taken down. Zeph being found in the corner trying to jump back, but it's not enough. Nightmare might be able to push it a bit forward here. Somebody trying to go on that right side, but Joe trying to call it out. Doesn't see him, trying to paint as much as they can for that killer whale because they were so close. Trying to use it to get what they can, but they don't have the tower here. One of them going on the tower just as I say that, as Joe and another are trying to push on one member. But that's going to be Storm T-Tech down, as the other 2 are trying to push up on this tower. Just can't really seem to find this tower here, as one of the E-leaders is just watching. Storm getting picked off, 2 down on the side of Nightmare. They gotta back off as they're in the last minute, and they gotta make sure that they're playing life here, making sure that they can try to push up. It is not looking good, as they can't even get past the second checkpoint. They just need to find a little bit more.
Exactly, and as you stated, we're now getting down to the final 30 seconds of the match. This is kind of Nightmare's last hurrah to state to be able to win this set over Hex, who's just been dominant this game 5. And we see a 3v3 situation for both teams, as Nightmare's just trying to get control of tower, but as you've been seeing, every time Nightmare tries to get to that second checkpoint, Hex is just able to defend it so well with the E-leader, and said E-leader gets the 52 gal. There's 3 down on the side of Nightmare, as the Tri-Strikes are trying to keep control of the tower for the final 7, 6, 5 more seconds, and it looks like it's going to be it for Hex. Nightmare going down, not able to contest it, and that is it. Game 5 victory. Hex wins it over Nightmare in the final moments, just able to have such a strong defense, and Hex is going to be the one moving on to winners finals. Very well played on the game on the side of Hex, especially in games 4 and 5. Their offense was able to just get that one crucial push, and their defense was able to suffocate Nightmare so effectively. Really well played from both teams, but Hex is just going to come out on top today.
Yeah, no, Hex there was just able to come out on top. It was just back and forth, team through team. But in the end, Hex was the one to be able to prove themselves and get the win on Nightmare. But congratulations to both teams. And they're still both in the running to see if they can win it, as of course Nightmare is going to be moving on to the losers bracket. But with that being said, we will be going towards a short break. But make sure to stay tuned, as we're just going to be getting into the winners finals after this break. Hello, everybody, and we are here today for the Squid Junction 34 Winners Finals. Coming out here, we have two very notable teams. We have seen both of their sets in the past. Corn Dog versus Hex. Corn Dog being able to take on double splash comps very easily. So if Hex is going to pull out any splashes, it might not prove that useful. We're going to have to wait and see here, but I am once again NM joined N once again by Pinky as we're going to be going into the winners finals. How do you think it's going to play out here, Pinky?
I'm not sure. We haven't seen Corn Dog since round 1 when it was best of 3, but we did also just see Hex play an intense Game 5 set with Nightmare as they were able to come out on top. Speaking of splash comps, we are seeing double splash on the side of, I believe that is Corn Dog, with their blaster that they were able to use. Surskit got so much value to that vanilla blaster, and we are starting things off on Splatoon's Brine Water. And we're already seeing 2 go down with Corn Dog. As the Tentatek is able to win versus the Blaster, the custom heater goes down. It's just the splashes on the side of Corn Dog as Hex is trying to move in slowly. And we see Hex using that E-Leader once again that they got so much mileage of in that last set. But this is a whole new set, and we're seeing the E-Leader get so much more mileage. Both splashes are going down, and Hex is just pushing all the way into Corn Dog's space. One of the members of Corn Dog is able to get behind that is the Blaster, but yeah, it's going to go down versus the Tentatek, deploying their bubble in an awkward spot that's going to get shredded. And we're seeing Hexes have utter domination of this map, pushing it almost to 30 points already within the first minute. We are seeing some contestment of the zone, though, and Corn Dog is able to get the cap, as that is a wipeout on the side of Corn Dog, and Hex is now coming all the way from spawn, but what a hill Corn Dog has to climb after just the first minute of the match.
Yeah, no, just the first minute, and Hex is already at a 28 lead. Corn Dog has to come back from that. They have the zone, they have the spacing, but they just have to keep it up. Crabs and Wave Breakers are already flying here from Corn Dog. They have another Crab Tank at the ready, so when this one stops, the other one can come out, which is exactly what happens here, keeping the members of Hex busy. But Surskit went a little bit too close up and is going to get picked off because of it. But their splash is going to get picked off themselves here. It is a 3v3 situation, but just in the last second, Hex was able to take it back from Corn Dog.
Corn Dog not quite able to take the lead, getting to 30, very, very close. This last-ditch effort is fully activated if anyone on this map is running it, but it's still Hex with just the slightest of slight leads. As we see Corn Dog starting to get pushed back into their spawn, we are seeing the Wavebreaker come out from the Custom Junior. We see the E-Leader sitting on the block in the middle of the zone is able to get so much control. As 2 go down to the side of Corn Dog, and Hex is almost through with their penalty. They could be pushing through with 4. It's sending their lead even further. Everyone's back on the side of Corn Dog, but Hex just has so much control of the ramp area, the street. The E-Leader finding the pick on the Splash-O-Matic. This is now a 3 versus 3 scenario. And Hex is almost at this knockout, just 10 more points to go. The Blaster's trying to get tested on the right side of zone, but it's just not going to make anything happen. Very close to a zone cap flip. Just 1 point. The Tentatek can get the zone, but they're unable to, getting 1v2'd and going down to the wipeout from Hex. But Corn Dog needs to get the complete knockout in order to bring this back. But Hex is just not quite able to get it themselves.
Yeah, no, as we can see here, Corn Dog has to get for this penalty, which is not good that their Crab Tank got picked off by a random splat bomb by Seth. Triple Ink Strike going to come out, 2 of the members down on Corn Dog, with the others jumping out. Hex has the zone back in their favor, and they got to shred their immense penalty if they dream of getting the knockout here. They still have a really good spot, being at 1. But we see the Blaster coming out on the right, but getting caught very easily by Steph, as the Crab Tank is on their ramp trying to stay back, but getting picked off themselves. One of the members of Corn Dog trying to push up by themselves here, but it didn't look that good for them either. The members of Hex are trying to push in. Surskit down once again, 2 going down to the Triple Ink Strike coming out, and that is going to be cheese. As we saw there, Hex was just able to pick off the members of Corn Dog. The Vanilla Blaster just kept getting their rocks kicked in, along with the other members of Corn Dog, as Hex takes this first game here as we move on to the second round, going to be taking place on Scorch Gorge Rainmaker.
Exactly, and as a Blaster player myself, I cannot deny that weapon has some severe shortcomings, being unable to paint for itself, and a mode like Zones, paint is kind of what matters most. And we just saw that the comp on the side of Corndog was just getting completely outranged and outmatched and just unable to paint themselves back into the hole they dug themselves into. So we're going to have to see what happens, what changes for the side of Corndog as we move to Game 2 on Scorch Gorge Rainmaker, which is one of the more interesting Rainmaker maps, considering how there's two very polarizing ways of pushing in. There's either the normal ramp route on the right side, but there's also the graded route through mid that, using a tactic cooler, can actually be very solid. We might see Dapple dualies here just to fully push that, as the beacons and the tactic cooler are both really strong on this map one combination, but we will just have to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. They might want to use that cooler great push, but that is a one in a blue moon opportunity, since also most of the members of the opposing team might be staying there themselves. But either way, they're just gonna have to think about it, as they're most likely going to be pushing on that right ramp, pushing there, trying to see if they can get the necessary picks, and pushing from there, of course, getting that checkpoint, getting that Rainmaker over there, and then pushing from there. We're going to have to wait and see on what both of these teams are going to be playing, what both of these teams are going to be wanting here. As it is really up to what the weapons are, what weapons they play here, and how they play with those weapons.
Exactly, and do not be mistaken, even though Hex took that game one in a somewhat dominant fashion, do not count Corndog out. These are players at very, very high levels, and they can very easily not only stomp over each other, but get the leads back from each other, as we almost saw Corndog do. So we're going to have to see what happens as we head into Game 2 on Rainmaker's Scorch Gorge. And we see the Blaster maintaining the same comp on the side of Corndog. Meanwhile, we see the Junior and the Hero Shot coming out on the side of Hex, as they will maintain with that E-Leader once again.
Yeah, no, Surskit doesn't seem to want to give up the Blaster here, but as we are starting on with the pop, it seems to be in Corndog's favor, but the members of Hex are able to keep themselves alive and are pushing up in here, 2 going down, but not before 3. 3 down on the side of Corndog. It is a full wipeout right at the beginning. It's going to be easy street for Violet to go in here and get the first checkpoint.
And that first checkpoint is so difficult to get. That area on the right side is quite narrow, especially with an E-Leader potentially staring it down, but that's the quick pick with the crab on the splash, and Hex is going to continue this push. The splash coming out on the right side, or on the left side of the spawn, just able to continue pushing in, kind of acting as a meat shield, as Rainmaker's just going as far as possible, getting the quick dunk, and that is Hex with a knockout in, I believe, under a minute. Some fancy moves on the side of the Rainmaker carried by Zero Rapid, and that is going to put them up 2-0 in the series, on the verge of taking the 3-0 sweep for Corndog.
What the hell was that? As you saw there, all the members of Corndog were watching that Rainmaker but could not land their shots, no matter if it was main or special, as Zero Rapid was just able to dance around the shots and just get the knockout so easily there. As we are moving on to Clamblitz Mako Mart, Corndog has very limited options here, as they have got to reverse sweep.
It's going to be very difficult for Corndog, but Clamblitz Mako Mart is one of the more aggressive Clamblitz maps, with Mako Mart being so short from end to end. It actually isn't that difficult to get clamped from one side over the other, and it really places the importance on team fights. And we've just been seeing that Corndog has not been able to win these team fights, and I would have to guess it's just because of their inability to get control, just because of how short range all their weapons are and how unable they are to get just solid space for themselves to move without exposing themselves to being just run over by Hex, as we've seen the last few games. So it's very much an adapt or die situation for Corndog, as Hex is up 2-0 in the series, and the winner of this will get to the winner side of Grand Finals, which is a huge advantage, as opposed to the loser being sent to the losers bracket. And keep in mind, this is to set up for a Grand Finals that one team might have to win 2 sets over the other, which is so difficult to manage, especially when teams are this good and this neck and neck with each other. It can come down to something as simple as a coin flip, and we're going to have to see where that coin lands as we shortly head into Game 3 of the series.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see on what these teams really want to play in this map mode. It is Blitz Mako, so I'm not really sure what they're gonna want to necessarily play. We might see, I don't know, maybe throwing like darts at a wall, maybe like an ink vac being allowed to help their teammates, or like a big bubble is more helpful in that, allowing their teammates to sit back there and just throw clams one after the other. But of course, Crab Tank right now really invalidates that. So if there's a Crab Tank, that's not going to use well, but there's going to be a Forge Pro coming out from Corndog here. Very interesting. We haven't really seen the Forge Pro yet, but of course, K-Pro players have been really happy to see something at least similar to it come back, this time being the Forge Pro. On the other side, we do have the Junior, we have the Leader, and we have Shot Splash. Very standard comp.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see the Forge Pro, but already surprising to see the action taking out. We saw the Blaster go down a bit ago, and now the shot on the side of Hex is down. As I mentioned, it's just going to be a bit of a bloodbath, a fight for these team fights, as we see a Crab battle. The Crab immediately getting shredded and getting splatted on the side of Corndog, as Hex is just able to leverage his advantage and is able to score the first football of the match. And while this is a large opening for them, this is definitely not the final push available on a map such as Mako Clams, and we're seeing so many on the side of Hex going down, just trying to throw themselves into the basket and unable to make it, as Corndog is finally trying to take control of this mid area, even with their Forge Pro down. It's now a 3 versus 3 situation, and the Juniors trying to just paint up and throw bombs and support in any way they can and try to just create a push opportunity out of nowhere.
Yeah, as we're seeing here, the Junior is just trying to keep themselves alive, as that big bubble is going to be really important. But that's going to be 3 down on the side of Hex. This is their opportunity, and the wipeout! It is a wipeout on the side of Hex. This is Corndog's chance to run in and see what they can do, getting 2 super clams in the basket with a bubble already situated on the snipe of Hex, as they're just trying to aggress, but the members of Corndog have to get some clams in here, getting it down to 48, as we see the Forge Pro just trying to get some more clams, throwing them in, getting it down to 33! That is going to be a really solid lead, especially this early in the match, but they're actually trying to go for more, getting it down to 27! That's really good for them. 2 down on the side of Hex still. Wait, can this Junior do it? Can this Junior do it? No, they can't, but they do have a super clam. They backed up just at the last second there, but that could have been so close. Maybe getting a jump or something, but still, a 27 lead right now is really good, and it's going to be really hard for Hex to come back in and try to get something back from that lead.
Exactly. A push to 27 is really strong, but it is important to note that on a map like Mako Clams, there really isn't a safe lead aside from a complete knockout. As we see these teams trying to get back, trying in the neutral state to get an advantage over one another. 1 dead on each side. Splash goes down on the side of Corndog. It's now once again a 3 versus 3 scenario, but neither team is able to get a lot of control, as Corndog is the one that's just trying to push forward as much as they can, and Hex is the one on the back foot trying to make something happen. We see the shot with the ball, trying to make their way to the basket, using the big bubbler as best as they can, but it's going to be very difficult for them to try and score, even if they have a clear path ahead. It's going to be a long road ahead for them to get this lead back, so we're going to have to see what happens from here.
Yeah, no, we're just going to have to wait and see on what these teams try to do from here. 2 down on the side of Hex, not really able to get... Oh, they get 1 more clam in, but that E-leader might not prove to be any type of use. Going down themselves, as Surskit is setting up this left area, going back into mid. They are at a pretty spot. Junior having a super clam, and so does the Forge Pro. Seth going down themselves, as Corndog is trying to push in here. Daybreak on. They have 3 super clams here, actually. If they get 1, this could be the catalyst to end the game. They get 1, they get 2, did they get all 3? No, they missed 1. They missed 1. Oh, wait, but Surskit coming out the back, trying to get it, and gets it, and ends the match.
And this is why I said you cannot count out Corndog. Corndog is able to get 1 on the map. We're sort of seeing this comp on the side of Hex being turned against them. We don't see the E-leader really being able to make much of happen on a map like this, and it's very interesting to see if maybe Corndog is starting to get some momentum, as that was quite the dominant win. And this could be the momentum they need to get the reverse 3-0 sweep in the set, as we head to a map that is more situated for the Vanilla Blaster that Sursk has been kind of ride or dying with, and that is going to be on Tower Control Sturgeon Shipyard. And what do you think of this coming forward?
Horse tower control is definitely a very special orientated mode, especially with what we got cooking in Splatoon 3 compared to previous entries. It used to be the big bubbler ink vac just being super useful, but now we have something like Crab Tank, just easily able to shred HP object specials. Of course, not being able to shred ink vac, but being able to just fill it up quickly and provide it being virtually useless for what it wants to do on the tower. Crab Tank is going to be very good. Same with Booyah Bomb or something like Triple Ink Strike. Less specials for keeping the tower and more specials for just absolutely shredding anybody that even expects to go on the tower. Zeph has been playing with the T-Tech here and there, so I can see Zeph going back on that T-Tech. And of course, Splash. It's Splash. We're going to see Splash. In terms of Booyah Bomb, maybe somebody wants to pull out the machine, but we did see somebody go that last match on that Forge Pro. I'm not sure if they're going to stick with it, especially considering... Well, actually, no. They might continue to go with the Forge Pro because they were the ones that won. I'm getting things mixed up, so they might continue to use it. But no, actually opting for the Nautilus double bubble with the Junior and the Blaster, rounding it out with the Splash Crab Tank, going up against a bubble with Jisha with that Junior, and the T-Tech coming out from Zeph, as I expected, on with Leader and Splash.
Yeah, a very interesting comp from both sides. We're seeing Hex is trying to say, okay, what worked the first two games is probably going to work again, but no! There's already a trade going out. It's a 3 versus 3 as the Blaster is going to go down, as well as the Junior. And now Hex is just trying to take control of the tower really quick. There's the Nautilus on the spinner, trying to make something happen, but they're caught unawares and they have to run away. And that's just going to give more opportunity for Hex to continue pushing this tower as they get closer to the first checkpoint. They are going to be forced to back away, though, as 2 of them go down, and now Corndog's trying to make a push happen. Even though their Blaster went down very early, and the Nautilus dies on the tower platform. So unfortunate, so well placed by Jisha on the Junior, and we're going to have to see how Hex is going to be able to defend this checkpoint.
Yeah, no, they got to position themselves more on that checkpoint, but 2-3 are going to go down on the side of Corndog. It's just that Junior left, as all of the Hex members are pushing up here, making sure they get this space, they get this paint. They like the color purple, they don't like the color yellow, but 2 are going to go down. 2 Surge gets Blaster. Oh my god, getting picked off themselves, but getting 2 with just 1 shot was very essential for them. Hex is trying to get this lead back, but they're so close. 2 down on the side of Corndog is going to help them break that first checkpoint. Of course, that crab being very useful there. This Junior getting picked off, maybe not the best play to push up like that, as Violet is just trying to control space here, trying to go on this snipe, see if anyone's there, but most likely not, as Zero Rapid is staying alive. Second checkpoint gonna go down, but the crab is trying to shred this big bubbler, not proving useful. They're trying to just get on the tower. 2 down, 3 down on the side of Corndog, and it's just that Splash. They get on the tower, and that's a wipeout to end the set, with Hex getting the 3-1 on Corndog. Corndog put up a really good fight, especially in the 3rd and 4th match, but it just wasn't enough, with Hex taking this set, and then themselves going to be moving on to the Grand Finals.
Yeah, exactly. And being on that winner side of Grand Finals is so nice, if nothing else, for the buffer, but Hex has truly earned it. We saw the E-Leader getting so much more value in this game as they were able to set up onto the enemy snipe, and that is such a strong position, especially against a comp like Corndog that does not have the crab, doesn't have the missiles, doesn't have many displacement specials to really move that E-Leader out of the way. And we just saw them taking so much control, and that is really what let Hex get the victory here in the set, in the winners finals. And don't worry about Corndog, they're still well in this tournament, they're still going to be moving on to the losers bracket, but it is Hex with the key advantage sitting on that winner side of Grand Finals.
Yeah, really good coming out from both teams, but with that being said, that is going to do it for me and Pinky's time on the mic. So before we both go, Pinky, where can people find you?
I'm glad you asked that. I am BrokenPinky _ on Twitter. I post mediocre Splatoon clips, and you can usually see me doing that and sometimes just shouting out my team. But NM, where can they find you? I gotta ask.
People can, of course, find me on Twitter and Twitch at Ninstar123. Just getting up to my usual shenanigans, making fun of my friends. It's just what I do. It's my way of showing love. But either way, that is going to do it for both of us. Make sure you give both of the other commentators some good times chat, as we're going to be taking leave ourselves. But make sure to stay tuned, as it is just getting started here.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Squid Junction. It is I, Mad Gamer the Second. I am joined by the one and only Weave.
Howdy, howdy.
We are in the top cut so far, we have cat versus in your walls. I guess there are cats in our walls. Not a bad situation if you ask me.
Gotta rip off your walls. So both of these teams have had a pretty good run so far. We've seen in your walls. I believe we saw. Sorry.
I'm gonna pull up the bracket right now. I was looking for that.
I'm struggling with it right now. Finagling. Let's see.
Yeah, cat got knocked out by corn dog.
Who we just saw last round.
Mm-hmm. And then in your walls, where did they go? They must have been.
They got knocked out.
They were also
first
knocked
round,
out by corn dogs.
Sheesh. So it's a redemption to see who can.
And then corn dogs is in the next round. Oh my!
Yeah, no, it's a big battle to see who can redeem themselves and make it out into grand finals.
And first it will be on Ink Blot with no, it's Tower Control. I was clams were on the mind. I was.
Right, very classic map.
Double Junior for the side of, I think, in your walls. Yes, they're going for the double bubbler.
We see a bit of
have the new Tetras on, or the I won't say Tetras. It's the new Tenatech shot on the other side. But yeah, what were you saying?
Bit of a slower comp on the side of Cat with the E leader there. It does make them a bit better on defense, but can make them harder to push.
That is true. There's a lot of range and some good staying power with that E leader. And they also have the 52 in bucket as well. That's going to be a nice combo. But unfortunately, they are just kind of on the back pedal right now. Cat on a rampage, Bubbler on the tower. They're just chewing through these checkpoints like nobody's business. That's 3 down once again against in your walls.
We're starting to see in your walls start to get staggered here with only the E leader up, and that E leader can't get out on its own. So the rest of in your walls are going to have to fight to get some specials and see if they can finally make their way out.
Quite so. They are a bit staggered now. They keep going down to the 1v2s. Cat is doing an excellent job of just keeping their teammates together and taking their fights, and they are going to get a nice KO, a one-stop push for this first match.
Hopefully, in your walls can figure out what they're doing a bit more in the next match. Like get their defense all together. Figure out how to not try to. Figure out how to not get snowballed so hard. Looking forward to seeing more of that.
Yeah, the first match is always rough because you're going up against a new team, and these two teams haven't faced each other yet, so it's just kind of feeling each other out. In Tower Control especially, as you said, it is very snowballing, so it was hard to get their footing in that first one. But Rainmaker is going to be up next on... Ooh, what is it? I never remember the name of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very interesting map, very narrow. Not a lot of flank options for you.
So if they can definitely utilize the power of their E-leader comp here and be able to just kind of block them out, they might be able to bring this back around. But then again, it is Rainmaker, so having the extra mobility without the backline might come into Cat's favor. We'll have to see.
Or maybe their E-leader can hit more of their shots, really show the strengths of the weapon, and stop pushes dead in their tracks. It we'll have to see.
I have a feeling we're not going to see the Double Junior come back, although it is a pretty strong weapon, especially with the Bubbler. Not quite suited for Rainmaker as it is on Tower Control.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some custom juniors now with Wavebreaker and Torpedo. Torpedo being incredibly strong poking. However, probably not the vanilla.
Yeah, that's definitely been the favorite pick for Rainmaker I've seen lately.
It's incredibly strong. It's one of the 2 weapons that we've really, from this new patch, that we've really seen shine so far, that and Tenatech.
And it's a perfect counter to the E-leader as well. The Torpedo and Wavebreaker will just really keep it pressured down in a way that most other weapons can't.
The torpedoes are incredibly powerful in that you force your E-leader to take their eyes off of whatever they're trying to laser down and shoot this down so it doesn't paint their feet and get them stuck in a really bad spot, or potentially even kill them if they're low enough. And so you're just pestering them like a mosquito. It's intense as a backline player myself. It's very annoying to fight against.
Oh, I know it is painful, but imagine if they decided to bring the double junior, but just win that custom junior. Whew, I I do not envy that poor E leader. Looks like we will be getting started soon enough. Second match, this will be In Your Wall's chance to make a comeback, another chance to take on Corn Dogs. We do see the E-leader come out pretty much unchanged for In Your Walls, and no junior whatsoever. We do see the double splash though for a cat here. Definitely going for the more aggro of the comp.
I also see an N-Zap, which is a weapon that was once incredibly powerful in Splatoon 2, but it's been fallen out of favor due to its special, not seeing a lot of use, but it does have a decent niche in Rainmaker. Being able to get that, get those fast respawns in and being able to increase the speed of your Rainmaker are both very powerful.
Yeah, speed is definitely essential for Rainmaker. The faster you get to that pedestal, the more secure your victory is. We do see the Rainmaker go down. 2 members of Cat are down. They hadn't quite been able to put too many points on the board. Excellent defense by In Your Walls, but unfortunately they do lose 3 of their members in the process.
The 52 is really going to have to try to hang back and stay safe for the moment. We do...
It did not last long. They are already making their way towards the pedestal, but it looks like they swapped targets to that right one. No, the left one. They have options.
We do see the triple ink strike come out, not able to get any picks, but we do have 2 more specials from the side of In Your Walls, that wave breaker coming out from the E-leader, and we may see the Booyah Bomb from the machine momentarily as, oh, they stopped 3 dead in their tracks, and that looks like it's going to be Cat's push.
That was certainly a nice play by the E-leader, getting 2 picks of their own, and plus the assist off their wave breaker. Ooh, but they do find the last member on the left side. E-leader finishes off. Now they are in position to really start pushing forward and making a play of their own. They'll just have to watch out for the specials that are coming online for Cat.
This E-leader is really playing to their strengths right now, making sure that they're controlling this wide area, right as they go down, making sure that control that wide area. We do see 2 good, it's a 2v2 scenario up in here, as more go down.
So far, Cat is still in position of mid, and they haven't allowed In Your Walls to really pick up the Rainmaker just yet. You still have plenty of time in the match, but this is still not looking good. In Your Walls is going to have to find a way to deal with that double splash, because so far a lot of them have been going down to that crab.
We see one more trade with the machine.
Ink Strike coming out once again, just trying to get some ground. They're cornering this last player over on the left side, but so far he has some assistance coming in. There's a kind of a scuffle here, but the In Your Walls does come out on top, taking down 2 members, but they do have a bucket in the back line. Thankfully they are able to clean it up, and now they are going to try to find a path. Several of the members are already respawning.
Yeah, if they're going to be able to push, this might be it. If they can continue to keep pushing forward, getting through mid, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen as they all go down.
I didn't even see what they went down to. It was just a straight line. I would have thought that was an E-leader collide if I didn't see that they didn't have one.
We do see that, like the aforementioned tactical are coming out, giving them a big burst of speed and making them a little bit more aggressive.
Yes, that tactical is especially helpful for this map where you do have that little bit of unequal area right before the pedestal. But once they get into that final run, is going to come quite in handy just trying to get across that. But so far, In Your Walls has a lot of blue standing between them and the pedestal.
The Booyah Bomb trying to block their path, but it doesn't quite get it. As they all go down, except for the T-Tech who's just respawning. They do manage to get the pick, but they're in a really bad spot right now. If they're not able to clear all of Cat out of their base, they could see themselves be wiped out right now.
Cat does get the pop and is not in position to pick it up. Some nice positioning by Silva here to stop the push before they can really get to that KO. And they have a minute remaining, and 7 it's difficult to come back from, but it is not impossible at this point. But just the amount of dominance that Cat has shown so far, and they look like they're getting prepared to set up tent and just camp out in the enemy base, keep In Your Walls away from that Rainmaker as long as possible.
Yeah, we could see a KO here soon if they're able to. Looks like they're going to go dash back and try to pick up the Rainmaker, try to get that last dunk, getting the pop here. We do see 2 members of In Your Walls go down. 3 members, only the machine left. They booyah the pedestal, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. as they just keep filing in and keep putting that pressure. But I think that was a Fizzy Bomb. Yeah, Fizzy Bomb causes the Rainmaker to go down, and they just have 20 seconds left and maybe try and finally pull this back around. But no, they don't. They get, oh my god. Bringing it down to 1 point.
In Your Wall is still able to stall out the Rainmaker as we get into the last 10 seconds. It is not looking good for them right now, but they are holding on with every last member. But unfortunately, Cat does get the final dunk in the end and will be going on to face Corndog in the finals of Losers Bracket. As I said, that was not as much of an open and shut match as we saw in the first one. I think In Your Wall has definitely found a bit of their groove, but they just didn't quite get enough of it to progress forward. It was more of just like they stalled out pretty much the whole game.
They were able to stall it right near their pedestal, which is not a very easy place to hold. It's very easy to get locked out and like right there. But they were able to hold that and just try and keep fighting and keep holding on until they could maybe get that last push that never came.
And that's the key right there. Like even when it feels like you can't find an opening, you just continue to keep at it, keep fighting till the very end. You know that it could have turned around quite easily, especially for a mode like Rainmaker, where if just one wipe could offset the balance so easily.
Even with these new checkpoints, it's still a mode that can turn the tides incredibly fast.
Absolutely. I do believe that we will be going to a short break before our next matchup, the rematch of this tournament, Cat versus In Your Walls in Losers Finals, of which the winners will be going on to face the winners in Winners Finals. So stay tuned, we will be back soon. Welcome back, everyone, to the Squid Junction. I wasn't wrong, or I didn't lie. We would be back soon enough. It is I, Mad Gabriel II, and joined once again by Weave.
Yep, I'm here.
We have our rematch of Cat versus Corndog in our Losers Finals. It's going to be an interesting one. Corndog did send Cat to the Losers bracket in the second round. So we'll have to see if Cat is able to make a turnaround and get revenge against the Corndog, or will Corndog prevail once again?
Either way, it's going to be interesting to see for sure. Now, even if Cat does make it back, it's far from over. They still have to beat Hex both times in Grand Finals, which would certainly be a show.
That is true. Hex is currently waiting for them in the Winners Finals. Until then, we have this first match of Sturgeon Shipyard. I did not catch the mode. Oh, Zone Sturgeon Shipyard.
Oh, interesting. We see a blob coming out, which is quite an interesting pick. Not something you see a lot, but I guess they're looking for that intense paint control and the ability to zone out an area, along with the rain being pretty good on zones for area control.
And they have that thermal ink as well, so it's going to be any shots they hit with their bubbler can just show up as a thermal outline through this map. And with such many objects in this map, it will be quite helpful. But it's going to be Cat taking the first zone here. Corndog coming back from spawn. They got the crab online, but they get taken down almost immediately. Not able to really do much to the zone just yet.
You see 2 down on the side of Corndog. They're just trying to, right now, Cat's trying to maintain some paint control, see if they can push up a bit more. Splashmatic out there has got their crab. They're going to see if they can get some picks with that. Get really pushing up into their court. We see 3 go down. I believe the Nautilus is respawning. Actually, no, they were already there. They just went down. So that's an effective wipe. Corndog is going to have to put a lot of effort in to make sure that they're not getting staggered.
Yeah, that was such a nice play by the 2 members of Cat there, essentially quarrying those other 2 members of Corndog, and that was going to basically get them the KO right here with that wipe.
Zones is very, all the modes really can be snowbally, but zones, especially, like, if you get one good push like that and aren't able to get back in, even if there's 10 seconds left on the timer, you can throw all the paint you have, and it still won't be enough just to cover that zone, just, like, in the nick of time, so... It is what it is.
Zones tend to be, if both teams are playing the cards right, it'll go back and forth quite a bit, but once you get like 1 or 2 good wipes against the other team, it is very hard for them to really come back from that, because you get so many points while they're respawning, and I think we saw that right there. You know, we got it to below 50, all the members went down, and then just Cat stood on the zone until they got the KO.
Once they were in their court, it was effectively over. That crab in there was making sure that nobody was getting out.
Indeed. But we do have a quite small snowballing mode once again, the tower control, but this time on Mako Mart. Mako Mart is the tried and true. It's definitely a favorite.
Yeah. It's the Splatoon 2 classic. If you don't know where to go to Mako Mart.
They got all you need right there. I don't imagine we'll be... Well, we could see the blob make a return. It definitely has its uses for the Macklemore, but tower control, probably not so much.
There's a recent tweet been going around saying especially how not favored Blob is on tower control, so I don't know if we'll see it.
Oh, we'll have to see. But other than that, I think a lot of the weapons that the team's been running the last match will be quite effective on this next one. I wouldn't be surprised though if we did see someone swap to something with the bubbler, either Junior or the Mini or Blaster.
We've been seeing a lot of the Mini recently, just because of how new it is and people really like the return to form of the Zinc Mini, but the V Junior is just so tried and true, great paint, has a great bomb, like amazing for poking, versus the Zemi, which has more of a toxic miss, is just less favored right now.
Yeah, it really is like whatever fits your style more. I think Zinc tends to be a bit more aggro with its main weapon. It's got a little bit more or better range, accuracy, and damage. But you're right, the poking potential of the Splat Bomb with the Junior as well as this extended ink tank really is strong to play with. So, you know, it's shooter versus Splatling, you know?
Yeah. I'm always, of course, going to be erring on the side of bias for the Splatling. However, I think from a general standpoint, the Junior is more favored just from, it's a shooter. Everyone likes shooters.
It's just a little bit more simpler to pick up, a little bit easier to get accustomed to.
You were mentioning that massive ink tank. It's, you know, it's truly is something to behold.
Quite so, and we will be getting to it. We do see the Vanilla Junior coming in for that bubbler, and also the Blaster and a Junior. We got the double bubbler on the side of Corndog right here. I think they were playing that earlier in the match as well.
I can't quite recall.
We also see the newer Forge Pro here, Booyah Bomb and the Suction Bomb, both quite strong for the tower control. But we do see 2 members of Cat going down here. Corndog most likely going to be picking up the tower in this first push here. Bubbler is ready to go.
Yeah, we see the Booyah Bomb going out, always a classic, great for getting these checkpoints, and we see it going against the crab and trying to get that crab out of the way, because if there's a crab there, you're not going to be pushing it. We see 3 go down on the side of Corndog, Blaster just respawning, and that is an effective wipe with the Blaster just now coming out of spawn. Will Cat be able to push it, make this a great push, or will they be able to get stopped here as Corndog respawns and gets their bearings back?
Cat definitely, they still were able to take off 2 of the matches of Corndog last time, so it wasn't a complete lockout, and now Cat is really turning the tables, just completely shutting down Corndog's plays right here, already taking the first match and now on their way to taking the second one, 2 checkpoints down, and they are not slowing down.
That crab play was incredibly aggressive. We saw the blaster try to come around and maybe take it out back, but not quite able to get it. They do pop the bubbler, but it might not be doing much for them as nobody seems to be targeting them. And they, if there's a bubbler on the tower, it's going to be hard to push against that. And that blaster is being pressured as there's all this scrambling for the tower. There's jumps coming in, there's people going down. And we do finally see 3 down on the side of Cat. But also 3 down on the side of Corndog now, as they're able to take it back with an Ingzuka.
Even with 1 member remaining, you can't count them out just yet. That nice plays with the Zuka there, and they got the points down to 10, and they are already back on the tower.
We do see a scuffle over here for their stack.
Yes, it looks like both the teams are just kind of poking around now. But now with 2 members going down, Cat's going to be on the aggression once again, just really pushing into their face. Yeah, the blaster is just the last one remaining. They're going to have to really watch what they do next.
Really important triple from that shot.
Public is popped again. They are already moving in, but they do lose their tower rider. And it's just the splatter shot. No, the splash sitting here, and they do get taken down by the returning members of the Corndog.
We've seen them be able to push it down to 10 quite a few times, but they haven't been able to get the control needed to finally KO it. And you can't really put, even with a bubbler on, you can't quite push it into uncontrolled territory.
Yeah, that last stretch is one of the most difficult because it does go down a canyon of sorts in the enemy base, and with them respawning like right there, they're already ready to make the defense even if they go down.
We do see Corndog try to go for another push with the Booyah Bomb and the crab coming out. There is one near the tower, but they're going to make it out. The crab's going to jump onto their snipe, but eventually 2 go down, but it's 2 on both sides. You see the bubbler getting popped.
Yeah, the Junior just doing their best to stay alive. They're popping the bubble a little bit early, but with how they're able to play, they can get it back quite quickly, and so now they're still alive to support their blaster, who is just watching the tower and this ledge over here.
A blaster on that ledge is very hard to contest. So hopefully that gets them more control, as nobody's going to be able to exit that way.
Ooh, 2 more against the Zuka. The splash shot's really been putting in some work, and that's going to stall out their push just a bit. The blaster's just trying to stay alive, but isn't able to, although they do get the Cats Junior on the way out.
All that control that they'd worked for about a minute or so to get is wiped away in an instant as Cat returns into the fray.
A little bit under a minute now. The crab is on the tower, just pushing it there, and this is really the place that they want it to be. Like, they don't have to push it any further, but once they keep it a little bit past the midpoint, it'll make it that much harder for Corndog to come back from it.
Yeah, unlike with the Rainmaker, it takes a lot longer for the tower to hit, so if they can keep it over on Corndog's side, there's not going to be much they can do in overtime.
Oh my, that is a lot of yellow on that map. Cat is really trying to keep Corndog from getting anywhere near that tower, just painting every little nook and cranny. One would think they were in the turf war as we get into this last 10 seconds.
Everyone just trying to build up their specials. We see, for a moment there, you had 3 specials on the side of Corndog. No longer, as though they all popped him, but we do see 2 go down, 3 go down, and that's going to be game.
Yeah, that was a valiant effort by Corndog. They did have a nice push going there, but Cat, I think this map speaks for itself. Cat just brought out all the stops. You know, they got taken down by Corndog by 1 match in the last set that they played together, and now they just come out 2-0 on top of Corndog and will be facing Hex in the winners finals.
Let's see if they can make their redemption or if they're going to be knocked out.
Quite so, because this is the last matchup of the night. If they're able to win against Hex, it will be going on to a bracket reset in grand finals, but they still have to win that first set. And until then, we will be going to another short break, so don't go anywhere.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Squid Junction. We are here in our winners finals, Cat versus Hex. It is I, Mad Gamer II. I am joined once again by Weave.
Hello, hello. This is certainly a set to look forward to. We see it's Cat versus Hex, like we said. Cat making their massive run through losers bracket after defeating In Your Walls. And now it's Hex, the champion of the winners bracket. We saw some amazing matches with them, and it's something to look forward to, for sure.
Quite so, Cat did get taken down pretty early in the winners bracket, so didn't have a chance to really go up against Hex, but now is their chance. As you said, they did go through all of losers bracket to get here, and so they are on a hot streak. Who will come out on top as we get into this winners finals?
You see an E-leader from the side of Hex, as well as a Flingza from the side of Cat. Hopefully, for Cat, their goal is to try to get as many missiles out as possible and make it very hard for that E-leader to do their job.
Yeah, that is essentially the job of the Flingza right there, especially for this map. What I've experienced so far on Brinewater is E-leader has a lot of presence. There's not a whole lot around the objective, especially for zones. There's not a whole lot around the objective for the E-leader can't reach.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of cover. It's and with the entire section of mid being so small, there's so much that leader can do to just stop you in your tracks.
Two members on both sides are down. I make that 3 for Cat, so now it's just the E-leader.
That's an effective wipe right there.
Mid.
We'll see if they can manage to get out of a stagger and hopefully get themselves a strong push back into mid.
This is the most dangerous spot to be going against the E-leader. The E-leader just sit up on this block, and now they have complete control of the returning space. But now we have the missiles in play. That's going to be pushing them out, exactly what Cat wants, and they do take the zone flip.
You do see 2 go down on the side of Hex, making a 2 go down on the side of both of them, actually, making it a scrap in mid for whoever can get the more picks. We see the E-leader go down on the side of Hex, meaning that the zone is clear, the light is green, and they can finally start pushing their way in without fear of being one-shot.
Hex is chewing through their penalty point. They do already have the lead, and now they're going to be solidifying their lead even further. We do see the E-leader getting taken down by the Inkzuka, a nice pick right there. But as the Bubbler and the Ink Strike coming out, they're going to still be holding on to this in the meantime.
Big fight in mid, but we do see Cat come out on top and taking the zone right before their Flingza goes down, and they're 2 down, and it's flipped right back over.
Yeah, that was a fast flip by Cat, just almost instantaneous, but they do lose it almost as quickly. They have a little bit of a way to already get that lead back, but it's not impossible at this point. They're just gonna have to find a way to move Hex out of the way. Essentially, just get Hex out of there, but they do see the Flashlight get taken down once again.
It is 3-3, but there's not a whole lot they can do with that E-leader there. They do move them out of the way with the missiles, but only momentarily, and they're going to be right back up in a few seconds.
Cat finally threw their penalty, and now they have some time to start moving towards that lead. Ink Strike comes out. The Bubbler was out, but they do get the flip for Hex, and now they're going to be really pushing up as two members of Cat go down. The Crab is down at the bottom of the ramp here, and that's just going to slow Cat down quite a bit because Hex didn't have too much of a penalty to get through.
That spot with Crab right there is incredibly strong. There's not much cover, and you can just shoot the entire lane and suppress all enemy fire. We do see 2 go down on the side of Hex. This could be Cat's return. It's all but the leader, and that leader is going to try to do everything they can to stay alive and maybe get a pick if they can. But
that's exactly what Cat is looking for right here.
See the Inkzook coming out, fishing for more picks, as they don't quite take control of their ramp as effectively as Hex Kit, but they still might be able to get this leader down. We're about to see the lead flip right here. Exactly what Cat wants to see. 2 down on the side of Hex. They could keep pushing this if they want to.
That was a nice pick on the Junior, although they popped the Bubbler. It was just a little too late. With the Junior gone, they were able to hold on to it for a little bit longer, but now, as several members are coming back, they do see the zone flip for Hex. A pretty decent lead, but as the members are down, they're not going to be able to hold on to it for a little bit longer.
And if you're Cat, all you want right now is just to stall out that zone and see if you can take it one last time. Try to get Hex a penalty back up.
Yeah, get the penalty up indeed. Hex is already chewed through that. Then we see the Booyah Bomb coming out, but it's not quite enough as the Ink Strike comes in to counter that. Hex taking the lead, but they lose 3 of their members in the process.
Oh, but the leader, and they are pushing in on that ramp and trying to take control.
They have a bit of a penalty here as we get into the last 30 seconds, but if they can hold on to that ramp, this could certainly play in their favor here because they don't have much of a way to go to get that lead back. You see the Zuka coming out, but the Ink Strike is coming out to counter. The Junior's doing his best, but the zone gets flipped.
That's unfortunate.
A second.
But they still do have control. But 2 of them are down. But if they are, no. Unfortunately, they're gonna go down in overtime.
Still, that was such a close matchup. Cat were on their way to taking that back, but the Ink Strike was quite strong. The way that they were able to place it, capped the zone almost immediately without them able to do much. As it evaporated pretty much any bomb that got thrown onto it.
We haven't really seen Ink Strike in the early stages of Splatoon meta, but now with T-Tech having it and T-Tech being such a solid main weapon with a great sub weapon, we're seeing just how strong it can be.
Quite so. It was a little bit. People weren't quite happy that you couldn't move with the special, but I think now that we're starting to get the hang of it, we do see it coming out, especially as you said, they have a decent kit with it now. Splash Shot is one of the more popular weapons, especially with the Zuka combo, but now that we have the Splat Bomb Ink Strike combo, we're definitely been seeing it a lot more for zones.
Oh yeah. It's basically just a Booyah Bomb that you have a bit more control over and doesn't take nearly as long as to charge. However, you can't use it as a panic button nearly as effectively, so there is a trade-off there, but it is still incredibly strong.
We'll be going on to the tower control on Inkblot Academy next.
Classic.
Wow, Ink Strike definitely had the paint to be the superior special for zones. Booyah Bomb just has so much displacement power on this mode.
Oh, 100%. If it's overtime and they throw a Booyah Bomb on the tower, there is nothing you can do. It's all over. But also, you know, a lot of utility in breaking out of neutral game and pushing back backliners. Like we saw, if they had a Booyah Bomb to throw at that leader, they might have we might have seen it go a little bit differently.
Perhaps so. Perhaps so. So far, Cat hasn't shown to really favor a backline comp, so going up against Hex as they came on top against In Your Walls, which also sports supported the E-Leader. We'll have to see what they choose to do go against Hex's E-Leader comp.
We do see that V Junior coming back out. Tower Control Classic.
We also see the return of the Splash with that Crab, also quite strong for tower control. And quite effective for, I think, just this map in general. There's some nice spots for it to set up and just zone out the other team.
Splashmatic already has that Crab, and I bet yep, they pop it right there on their stack and trying to put pressure on that E-Leader and just take control of that whole zone. But we see Crab on Crab action, Crab on Crab violence.
Both the Crabs do get crushed early on, and the E-Leader makes its return and takes out the user as they try to get to a safer spot. But now Hex taking the tower as 2 members of Cat go down.
This E-Leader is pushing quite far up, just trying to get their presence known, and they do make it known as they get a pick pretty early on.
And we do see that Booyah Bomb just completely shutting down the tower, but unfortunately there's not too many other members of Cat to back it up, so Hex is going to jump in on it almost immediately, and with the Crab going, they're going to be pushing it a little bit farther.
As they get to the second checkpoint, that bubbler is going to be running out, and they do go 2 down. It looks like this might be the end of their push as they're all retreating and trying to save what they have left.
That second checkpoint right there is one of the deciding factors. Is Cat able to hold on to that is really going to play in their favor later on, especially if they're able to take out the second checkpoint of their own. But with 2 members on both sides down, it is going to be slowed down just a bit as members respawn and just kind of find some more map control.
See a few specials online on the side of Hex, but one of them do go down.
Bubbler is online for Hex, but right now Cat is the one in control. We do see it being used defensively. The Junior just set up on this ledge, but they get flanked from the side, and they're going to have to really move out of the way, and so now Cat is going to be taking that first checkpoint.
We do see a combination of specials there with the Crab and the Bubbler, but it doesn't seem to be enough as they do get picked.
Crab is quite strong, but you are quite vulnerable as well. There's a small opening on the back and top, and that E-Leader has just the narrow focus to take it down.
So Hex is going to be starting to take back mid and start getting ready for another push as they try to clear out these last few members of Cat that are still remaining.
You see a scuffle on this right side, but Cat comes out on top. Yoshi just clearing out that left stack, taking out another member. They are 2 down currently, but they are going to be holding on to this tower as their members are jumping back in. Bubbler goes up just to kind of push them out, and they are going to be living another day.
The Splash here just zipping around, doing what a Splash does best, and just trying to get some picks.
3 members of Cat are down.
So Hex is definitely gearing up. Oh, that Crab is hallmark of a push beginning. They're really trying to take space, trying to control their plat, but they do get backed out a little bit early.
Yeah, they were in position to be pushing that tower again, but as 2 of the members went down almost immediately, so they had to back up. But taking down 3 of Cat, they're going to be pushing again. A delayed wipe right here. That Splash is going to be getting his Crab back and moving right back to where he was before.
Yeah, we're probably going to see this 4th member go down shortly. Oh no, actually no.
A nice trade right there. 3 members of Hex down, 2 members of Cat. So the last member of Hex is going to be taken down. They haven't been able to take the second checkpoint just yet, so Cat has another chance to take this lead from them.
Well, Hex has been making some really great pushes. They haven't quite made it so far as to clear that second checkpoint. And it's been really back and forth. They've been pushing far and then getting pushed back, and then pushing far and then getting pushed back, and they haven't quite been able to take the control they needed to win, which does give Cat the opportunity to maybe take it back.
A nice combo of the Crab and the Ink Strike to push them off that tower, but they're already making their way back as the Junior goes down, and the Bucket as well. 2 members of Cat are down. They still haven't been able to get to that checkpoint, and the last one is going to be cleaned up as Hex moves back into mid. 30 seconds, and Cat hasn't been able to get anywhere close to that second checkpoint.
You do see a few go down on the side of Cat, meaning that they are going to be forced into defense, which is not what you want in the last 30 seconds.
And we see all of Hex's specials online and getting used pretty much simultaneously, just trying to clean this up in the last 30 seconds. A nice triple from the splash, and that is going to leave the last remaining member going up against the E-Leader, just trying to push out, but unfortunately they get overwhelmed and taken down by the members of Hex.
It's the mark of desperation, just going in by yourself and just praying that you get a pick, but it wasn't quite enough in this case. But overall, a valiant effort.
It was such a valiant effort. Once again, it was still pretty close, but yeah, Hex just had the little bit of oomph needed to come out on top in the end.
There is a world in which Cat does take this back, and if it's any map that is going to take it back on, it's going to be Hagglefish Zones. One of my personal favorites. It's just a very even map. Decent, like relatively decent flank routes for what we've seen so far in Splatoon, and just classic zones, even action.
Oh, it's such a good map, and I think, yeah, Cat can definitely bring this back in this match, and they are going to have to, because it is match point for Hex in this set. If Cat can make the reverse sweep here, they'll be going to the bracket reset in grand finals, but if Hex is able to clean this up here and now, they're going to be taking the tournament.
Yeah. If Cat does take it back, it'll be a long road, but you know, it's always in the air. It's never never out of the question.
We did see a pretty even comp from Cat last time. They had, I guess, very diverse. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the return of the Flings, that they did favor that for the last Zones map they played in.
I'm betting on the side of Hex we're going to see that E-Leader again. It does absolutely dominate on this map. If you get up on that the tent perch, there's not a whole lot they can do. You have great vision over both flank routes.
Oh, for sure. And then the Waybreaker on top of that, you place it up against one of the two obstructions in the middle, you can clear a whole area and keep it safe at the same time.
I was right. We do see that E-Leader. We actually see a double splash, a classic on the side of Cat.
Double splash, and they're opting to bring out the Pentatech as well, going for Ink Strike on both sides. They definitely learned from that last match. Ink Strike is going to be pretty strong for zones, especially on this one where you can just lob it right across the obstructions again.
We immediately saw that double crab, but it wasn't quite enough to get the early cap. The last two members of Cat are going to be forced to play on defense and just try to make sure that they don't get up into their plat and get a really nice spawn camp going.
Yeah, it's still early on in this match, but already Cat is starting to stagger just a bit. And the more that Hex is able to stall them out in order to take down members while they have control of zone, the harder it is for Cat to be able to come back from it. We do see the Aim Strike coming out, but unfortunately there's still several members of Hex online to hold the zone, and they pop their own Aim Strike on top of that. They're going to be holding on to this as we get down to 30 points.
We just saw all of the specials go off, but the clock is still ticking for Cat, and they don't have much time left. If they are going to take it back, they have to do it now, but with 3 members going down, they are going to cap the zone and get a full wipeout. Hopefully they can really push far and take action and get all up in their plat and, take control.
Hex had such a strong opening, but Cat found the opening that they needed to stop that zone, and now they're going to be chucking through their own, but unfortunately lose 2 of their members, and now the last one's going to be tap shot by the E-Leader as they are cornered by the Ink Strike. A hefty penalty to get through, but unfortunately they have such a decent, substantial lead on top of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that penalty chews through faster than Cat really wants. It never takes long for that counter to start taking back down again.
Right, so we see the Ink Strike coming out to try to counter the crab, but the Booyah Bomb's going to be coming right back as another crab was popped. Their splash goes down, and now Cat is just going to be moving into the zone and trying to edge out Hex just a bit.
See the bubbler in the zone, but it quickly gets destroyed. We do see trying to make pushes, but unfortunately they do go at 1 point 3 down, and that's going to be Hex just making their way back into control.
So far, Cat hasn't been able to have such a stronghold as Hex showed in that first opening, but they have been able to keep Hex from making a similar play again, be able to flip the zone pretty quickly after the respawn. But now Hex is starting to set up camp once again and is getting dangerously close to that penalty going out. 3 members of Cat down. This is not looking good for them.
No specials online. Only about 5 seconds left. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to take it back. And that is game. It wasn't a total yeah, it was actually, it wasn't a total blowout. Cat did have some good pushes there. Really impressive to see against such a strong team.
Absolutely. Yeah, Cat held their own decently well. Unfortunately, it's just that first push by Hex just finished, like, that was the whole game right there. It was just Cat trying to play catch up after that first play by Hex. I think Hex definitely showed a little bit more dominance than in the previous 2 matches, where it was down to the wire all the way through the game.
You just didn't see Cat taking quite full advantage of those the pushes that they were able to make. They weren't able to push quite as far in as Hex was able to, almost always able to, seeming to. So it does come down to little things, but you know, it's closer than you think.
Indeed, both of these teams have worked hard to get to here, and even though Hex won in the end, Cat still is. They put on quite the show. They had some really good plays, and yeah, they burnt through all of losers bracket to come up and face Hex in the finals. So GG's to both teams. It was still really good matches to watch.
You don't burn through losers match like through all of losers bracket like that without an incredibly strong roster. So yeah, incredibly well done on both sides.
Absolutely. However, that is going to be the end of our matchup, the end of this tournament for tonight. So before we close off, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at WeefSlider, like Reef Slider, but with a W at the beginning. And where can the good people find you, iMad?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at iMadGamerII. I definitely do a lot of the Splatoon content with some variety mixed in. I'm hoping to stream some Salmon Run before the weekend ends. But until then, thank you all for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you all later.
See ya.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!